best accompany
Early,
ever.
actually, sorry. It's 2 minutes to 9.
Can I extend it? For
No,
the bestest
here we
ever
go.
broadcast. Can I talk now again? He's playing with these faders. You're a bit of a devil today.
Poland here.
I can tell that you're in good form today because when I was playing that other song there, who were they? It doesn't matter. You're out there dancing.
Was I?
You were dancing. If your daddy moves there.
No. That was to a different song.
Was it?
Yeah.
What song was that?
It's Friday again. That one.
What? Give it again. F sharp minor 7. It's Friday.
It's Friday again.
What song? Now you know your music.
What?
Go on. Who's
I
that?
can't remember off the top of my head.
It's Friday again.
Yeah. You played it every day for months. You must know yourself.
No, come here.
So that's it. Have a goodie.
You too.
Anything exciting or just the usual stuff?
Usual old stuff. Gonna try to watch a bit of TV. I'm gonna watch you on your recommendation and a bit of
Which
research.
means you're going to go 5 minutes into it, fall asleep.
No, I'm gonna do my very best to sit up and watch it.
Good
Well, it's either that or lately. Do you know Eurovision is great and all of that, but I've not been watching the Late Late Show.
Oh, is there something to do with the Eurovision?
Yeah, they're picking the 6 finalists in there. You know, for the Irish.
Oh, right. They need
Irish.
to do it a different way.
Oh, I don't know. Do you know? It's nice
No,
to
I'm not.
support.
Well, will I? I don't know. I'll see what mood I'm in. Might watch it yet.
Well, yeah. I'll
might
probably
do.
flick it on for a wee bit, and if it hooks me in, then we'll watch it.
Sinead.
Sinead Scale. All right,
Song
look,
of Fall,
you too.
Boolbug. It is the 9 till noon show on the way, but at 9 o'clock, let's get a news update, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A pay increase of just over 10% has been offered to the public sector workers by the government. Talks have been continuing overnight after they failed to reach an agreement in meetings earlier this month. Public sector unions had been pushing for pay hikes of 12.5%. Industry correspondent with the Irish Independent, Anne-Marie Walsh, says negotiations are ongoing this morning.
They're still in there and they're finalising the details of these new proposals. What I understand is that the officials from Minister Paschal Donoghue's office have offered 10.25% to the country's 385,000 public servants over 2.5 years. So this would be an increase of just less than 2% on his previous offer at the talks.
The media minister believes the RTE board should remain in place for now. Catherine Martin says a Grant Thornton report into Toy Show the Musical highlights serious failings in governance, oversight and financial management. The RTE board acknowledged a significant lapse in oversight with a report into the €2.2 million flop showing a significant risk it never would have been break even. Minister Catherine Martin says she's waiting for government commissioned reports into the RTE saga and says the board will stay for the time being.
Certainly the board didn't ask the key questions and weren't provided with the information, and approval was never on an agenda of any meeting and is never minuted. And they've acknowledged now that those questions should have been asked and that projects should have been interrogated. What I'm saying is that I have confidence in the chair and I have confidence in how the board is working now.
The Economic Development section of Donegal County Council is being urged to concentrate additional efforts on East Donegal. Councillor Patrick McGowan says currently there's too much emphasis on the larger population centres in the county at the expense of other areas. He's raised concerns that there appears to be no plan or strategy to improve enterprise and tourism opportunities in the Lifford-Stranorlar Municipal District. Councillor McGowan says they have repeatedly asked as a collective for a detailed report to outline what's being done in the MD.
It's nice to know what's going on in the rest of the county, and very, very important, but we like to know where, look, we have 20, 30 staff or more working that section. We want to know, what's happening in there, particularly with Rafole, Lifford, Balbafay, Glenfin, basically that's it, and that's what we've asked for now a couple of times, so hopefully that will be forthcoming at the next meeting.
A 48-year-old man was arrested yesterday in connection with an unnotified parade in Derry. It took place on April 10th last year in the Cregan area. He's since been released pending a report to the Public Prosecution Service. Looking to weather, mostly dry today with bright or sunny spells and a few showers. Highest temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees in a moderate to fresh and gusty west to southwest wind, strong at times near western coasts. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again at 10 o'clock.
The way you eat a cream egg says everything about you. If you eat yours with a teaspoon, that means you like things just so. You turn up the TV in even numbers. You pronounce chorizo, chorizo. And if you find a shirt you like, you buy 10. Search Cream Egg Test to find out who you really are. Cadbury Cream Egg. How do you eat yours?
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It's approaching 4 minutes past 9 on this Friday, the 26th of January, 2024. You're very welcome along to the last 9 till Noon Show of this week, and it's good to have you all listening. We have our Friday panel joining us, who I'll introduce to you in just a moment, but I want to invite you on to the show as well. You can text WhatsApp 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. Excuse me. Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. You can also watch the programme if you're at home on your big screen, your smart TV, the YouTube app. Type in Highland Radio Ireland. We are there live. You can also watch us on your Fire Stick. Take us on your mobile devices with YouTube. And we're also streaming on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland Radio News and Sport. Okay. Let's say good morning to our guests. We'll say hello first to Doreen Sheridan Kennedy, former department school principal and community campaigner. Good morning to you, Doreen.
Good morning. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing good. Gentlemen. It's great to have you on the show. Michael White's the chair of the Green Party here in Donegal. Hi, Michael.
Morning, Greg.
Great to have you back on the show, as is Michael McLaughlin, Secretary of the Labour Party in Donegal, potential local election candidate as well. Good morning to you.
Morning, Greg. Morning, Doreen. Morning, Michael.
I take it, Michael, you're going for council, are you?
Was that my question?
Yes, Michael.
Yeah, we'll be running some candidates and we'll confirm next week who they are.
Okay, but you want your hat in the ring?
My hat will be in the ring, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. No, it's just to be clear, it doesn't make much difference at this stage, but no harm. Doreen, you're not going to make a late pitch for the council, are you? No?
No, I've started to work in the administration and I'm working with conventions at the moment. We're doing very well. We're well through our candidate selection and just 2 more electoral areas to work on now, Buncrana and Carndonagh. And we're delighted to see, I suppose, both young and more experienced people coming in, and it's great. We're delighted where we're at.
Good mix. How many have you selected across the county now?
Well, we have 2 in the Lifford area and we have 2 in Donegal. We have 1 in Glanties with 1 to be added. And Letterkenny, we have Councillor Timmy Kavanagh with 1 to be added. So Buncrana and Carndonagh are next week. So, we're happy. We have 5 of the electoral areas covered and 2 more to go. And happy with the young people coming in. Happy with Aaron Sweeney being selected in Milford there. And with the likes of Jason coming forward, Jason Harley down in the south of the county. So it bodes well for Fine Gael. And, I just wish the media would get a hold of that, because I think they think we're doing nothing and we're not actively doing anything. But no, I'm very happy with where we're at.
What's the gender breakdown so far like?
Well, they're actually, we're very short on the ground in relation to women who have actually gone forward. And we're not short in that we've spoken to a lot of women, but it's down to what's happening countrywide. I'm sure the other gentlemen involved in political parties will know as well. Women are still very involved with care needs and families. So whether it's young children or whether it's actually you're tied to a mortgage, you're tied to a job. So the actual full commitment to come into politics is not an easy one, So,
but that means we still, and we've been talking about it for years, need a reform of how the council is operated, tighter meeting times, more flexible times, remote access, looking at what sort of evening commitments are required and that type of thing. I mean, if we truly want then it to be inclusive to everyone, and there's, maybe dads also who can't find the time to put their name forward, so we need to really reform how the local authority is run to facilitate people then, rather than it being a perennial problem or a perpetual problem.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but we've seen how slow it is for national government to move on issues, in relation recently to maternity leave and to items like that. So we've a long road to go yet in relation to that. There could be more flexibility maybe within the Donegal County Council, all right, but it's not easy. But your head out there either, Greg. It's all very well for people to be always, critical of any political party. But, the people who complain and are online and are giving out are not the people who are actively involved and are not the people who are putting their heads forward. It takes a lot for any person, young or even sitting councillors, to go back in again, especially in the present climate where there's such, sort of with digital media, when there's such abuse out there. So it's a difficult one. You're not exactly joining for the money. I don't think the money's great. And
it's
I
not
don't
bad.
Think pay the
it's getting all right.
Well, no, they earn their money, Greg.
I'm not suggesting that for a second. I mean, obviously, if it's your full-time job that you're dedicated to, but a lot of people have other interests and are also county councillors as well.
I doubt very much if any of them are full-time county councillors and just county councillors.
Well, I presume Aaron Sweeney's not going to pack up teaching, is he?
No, he won't.
Exactly, that's my point. Okay. No, I'm not getting personal, but my point is it's a lot of people. It's on top of their regular income, but that's fine. I don't begrudge councillors anything. Just a quick one on that from you, Michael White, just in terms of addressing the issues so that the council is more representative, not just men and women, but more representative across the board. I think, as Doreen was pointing out there, it is going to continue to be difficult to attract potentially women into the council, given the current commitment that's required.
Yeah, well, I think there's a fair amount of progress overall across all, say, Green Party representatives, from councillors, TDs and senators. We're at around 47% female, I think. Like, it's pretty good. But it is, as Doreen was saying, there's a number of challenges. Like, what I would say is that I know a number of councillors, in terms of whether it's attractive financially or not, a number of councillors serve one term and then don't serve again. And that's an issue. It's a challenge for people that do find the workloads too high or for other reasons. The other challenge is then around trying to attract people from non-traditional backgrounds. That's going to be an ongoing effort. There's a lot of people listening to this program that wouldn't enter their head in a million years to think of themselves as giving it a shot, even though they might be great. So that's the thing, just to try and encourage people to prime themselves to start thinking about, is there something I feel strongly about in my local area? Is there something I'm really worried about? Do I want to try and contribute to getting it fixed? So there's loads of work to be done, as Doreen says, but it's definitely getting better. And, I'd be hopeful that in 10 to 20 years, we should be getting near parity of representation.
My word. So by the time I'm dead.
That's very pessimistic.
Well, I mean, I know, but still 10, 20 years. Michael, I think it's good. It would be good for society if the council, and this is no offence to those that have put themselves forward, that the more representative of the society the council is, I think the better we feel it might function.
Is that for me?
Yes. Sorry, am I not saying people's names?
Well, you've got two Michaels.
Oh, I do. Right, okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want? What's your nickname? Do you want me Beardy Michael? Or no, Michael McLaughlin. Michael McLaughlin. I've got a beard, so I can say that. Go on, Michael, go ahead.
Is my beard bigger than yours?
It is. Yours is significantly bigger.
I think we have an issue generally. I mean, I find it interesting when I said that I was letting my name go forward, the number of people who've come forward and said, why the hell would you do that to yourself? And it's not from, it's from a place of genuine concern that, either friends or acquaintances or whatever, and people just sit at the point of, I would not get involved in politics if my life depended on it. And I was having this conversation with somebody last night, and I said, well, first of all, we're a democracy. Politics is part of being a democracy. We need to have people who are willing to go forward. So I think it's great that anybody's saying yes. I think that we need to be more representative of all shades, colours and descriptions, as you alluded to. I mean, I think, we have a female leader in the Labour Party, and I think Ivana's a really, really, if we take just on face value, she's a very clever, very well educated, very capable individual, and that's certainly something that I think we want to be seeing in politics, regardless of gender or anything else. But I think that certainly for things to be more representative, we need to change the way we look at politics, and we need to change the way we interact with politics. How we do that is a huge question. It's very easy to be very negative about politics and political parties. It's very easy to pick holes in everything and have a go at it. But I think that, we need to start looking at why we vote, why there are different parties, what you want from it, and to move from there, and to encourage people to get involved with the conversation first on a level that is engaging rather than bash. Sorry, Siri has decided that he needs to get involved in my conversation, so I'm glad that somebody wants to get involved in it at any rate.
Normally it's me butting into you, but this time it's Siri. Just briefly before our first break, and then we'll get on to topics. Doreen, you feel Fine Gael are being treated unfairly by the press. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think in recent times, I think they feel that we're not actively involved, and because of the nature of Joe McHugh TD moving on the issue of Micah, that we've got a lot of criticism. But Joe McHugh still is TD representing the area for the next year and a half, and Fine Gael is actively involved in around the country through the Women's Network, through the branches and the districts and everything else. No more than the other two gentlemen in their parties. There's a lot going on that we know. But,
so do you think Fine Gael candidates will be standing and at the doorstep, sort of relying on Fine Gael's record, defending Fine Gael's record? Do you think that's what they'll be at the doorsteps through the campaign, pushing, hoping that wins votes?
Well, they will be looking at the policies of Fine Gael, and they will be taking them with them. But a lot of our people are experienced at this. But I wouldn't like people to think we haven't got good women in there. I mean, Heather Humphreys is a marvellous representation of the women within Fine Gael, as indeed is Maria Walsh, one of our European MPs, and as Mairead McGuinness, who's up there at the top level of European, we have very good women out there, but whatever's happening at county council level, we just not seem to be pulling them and inviting them in well enough. So, but yeah, of course we'll be going out. That's what every organisation would be doing is amalgamating and looking to convince the voters, number one, to come out and vote, and number two, to get their families to come out and vote. We don't want apathy, despite the fact that it's a difficult world we live in and that there are a lot of obstacles out there. And we also need to be having that conversation if we're on the doorsteps in relation to coming out to vote for the referendum that's coming up as well on the 8th of March.
Michael White, the challenge for you is it that, there is an element of support for the Green Party, but the way, it's split up across various, election areas, is it difficult to get across the line? We are in a rural area, and a lot of what the Green Party has to say, no matter how well it's articulated, feels like it is, against our way of life, that we're having to do the heavy lifting. And I'm not saying that's the case, and it's not maybe the time now for us to debate that, but you know where I'm coming from. Is it more difficult to get the votes out of a specific area within a bigger area to get across the line as a Green Party councillor?
Just practically, the Green Party tends to pick up more votes in urban areas than it does in rural areas. So that's challenges. When we look at the map of Donegal, that means your biggest opportunities would be, say, Letterkenny, possibly Buncrana, any other major urban areas. That being said, I'm hoping that over the last 4 years, people can see some benefits of what's being done because the Green Party are in government. But we're always, with the best outcome in the world, our percentage will always form a minority party in any potential government if we get that far. So that's the reality. Everybody in the Donegal Green Party is a volunteer. We're all non-paid. We all realise the challenge of trying to promote the Green Party in Donegal because it's a rural county, such as life. We just have to. I strongly believe that what we're trying to do is really important. I'm strongly concerned about the impact climate change will have in Ireland and in Donegal, and that's why we're doing this. We just want to make sure anybody in Donegal has the opportunity to vote for a Green candidate if they have the same concerns that we have.
All right, well, shall say thank you very much for that. Right, we'll be back with more from our guests after these.
Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Cooney's Home Interiors January sale just got bigger. 30% off all beds, 20% off all rugs, lamps and accessories, 20% off all dining room furniture, and up to 20% off all sofas and suites, all with immediate home delivery. But hurry, only while stocks last. Cooney's Home Interiors Letterkenny Retail Park. Style and perfection at incredible value.
Farmer Exodus in the West. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Find out how many farmers are leaving the sector each year. See how your factory ranks in our exclusive Beef Price League. €65 million paid in turf cutting compensation. Over 100,000 fewer straw bales this year. Rising cost of sending BVD tissue tags. New schemes to pay farmers for biodiversity. Plus, all you need to know about land tax reliefs.
All inside the Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Lower your food bills with own brand offers at Kelly Centra in Letterkenny. Save up to 50% on the branded options, many often from the same producer or supplier. You'll find own brand products in almost every department, so why not seek out the savings at Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. If you have a job to do over the weekend, Watson Hire have a brilliant weekend hire deal available. Get any item on Friday, keep it until Monday, and only pay for 1 day's hire. That's 3 days hire on any equipment or machinery for the price of one. So there's no excuse to get the job sorted. To book, call Watson Hire in Letterkenny on 916-7777.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at
18 minutes past 9. We're with Michael McLaughlin, Secretary of the Labour Party in Donegal, Michael White, Chair of the Green Party in Donegal, Doreen Sheridan Kennedy, a retired school principal and a community campaigner. Now, Minister for Media, Catherine Martin, has said the current RTE board should remain in place for now to facilitate the day-to-day functioning of the organisation following yesterday's Grant Thornton report into Toy Show the Musical. A report into the musical found that the recording of the show's sponsorship money was not in line with generally accepted accounting practices. Although the report does not reveal any names, several of the board members who were interviewed admitted that more questions should have been asked about the project, with 5 members of that board still in place. Ms. Martin concedes that the report highlights serious failings in governance oversight, financial management and appropriate control procedures in relation to this project. €2.2 million of taxpayers' money down the drain. Michael McLaughlin, is Ms. Martin right in backing the board for now? Is that the right move?
That's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, my knee-jerk reaction to that is no, they should all go. But then you look further into what she said, and she wants the board to stay for there to be accountability, because once you're gone, there is no accountability. So I think, from that point of view, that's important. But I mean, the bigger issue here is massive. And I mean, here's another self-inflicted wound by RTE, and this drip feed of problem after problem after problem with RTE is just something incredible.
I mean, but she talks about retaining them for accountability. But I mean, that's like sort of asking cows just to hang around the abattoir, isn't it? I mean, why would they?
Well, yes and no. I mean, there are massive questions here. I mean, on a personal level, I have a massive question. What was RTE doing staging a musical on a stage in the first place? I've had 20 years experience on the stage, and I mean, Don't Put Your Daughter on the Stage springs to mind. The money involved in putting a musical on anywhere is phenomenal. And the decision making around that is just incredible. So we have to get some form of answers. I mean, we've seen with the earlier situation where the chair of the board had disappeared, and we had no answers really at all. There needs to be some serious work done on general governance in RTE, and to make sure that as a state broadcaster, we're getting value for money. But I mean, at a very basic level, somebody somewhere should have said, how is this value for money for anybody paying their license fee?
Yeah, but I still don't see how all of these people can sort of be in jobs, paid jobs, whatever, have this level of responsibility and be toying with public money here, that it doesn't really matter. See that telly behind me here that you see there? Do you know the hoops I had to jump through to get that? Unbelievable. It was like a 6-month campaign of me arguing why, justifying it, pricing it. Do you know what I'm on? Like, I'm not being facetious, and we have great management here, and don't get me wrong. But this is just public money. It's being treated like it's confetti. People with responsibility on a board not simply doing their basic function, getting anonymity in a process like this, and then there's like an argument to retain them so that we can give them a slap in the wrist later once we get another 2 or 3 reports.
Well, the question is, do we get rid of them, throw it all out, and learn nothing from the process?
Or do we really? Is there lessons that we have to learn? This is the most basic, the most fundamental stuff was disregarded.
Agreed, totally. But then how do you go from that as an experience? I'm not advocating for the board to stay in any way.
No, I get that.
I think it should be gone. But the question is, when do they go?
Okay.
If you throw them out now, what do you get out of the process? Nothing at all. I raise a good question. What do you get out of the process anyway?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But there needs to be some level of accountability somewhere. And if you fire them all, then I don't think you're going to get anything.
But ultimately, what is the actual accountability? Even if they stay on the board, they can't get fined, can they? Do they get sacked? A public humiliation, a flogging? What is the act? There's no criminal culpability here. So why do you keep them around for accountability? Doreen, what do you think?
beggars belief that this happened, and I can't believe that. I watched this sort of grow on RTE and saw this advertised, and there were local people in Donegal involved in this musical, and they were very talented young people. But, you know, it was agreed on the part of RTE that went down this road because they saw the toy show as, and the Toy Story thing as something that to me, they thought they could make money on. But Michael's right. What were they at trying to do something that is way out of their realm?
I'm not sure, though, Doreen, and this is not to contradict you, I'm not sure actually they ever thought they would make money out of it. I think really what happened is someone said, we've got the resources. I've always wanted to put on a big show. I've got this itch to scratch, and there's a bottomless pit of money there. Like, I'm not sure this was ever approached, you know, with a return for the taxpayer in mind.
Well, I don't know if it was the taxpayer, but whoever was going to get it, I just think it was awful. And the whole word governance, which you emphasised this week or last week in relation, say, to the facilities in the pastoral centre, the services being provided, the governance. I mean, if anything like that happened within a school and a board of management, there would be questions asked, and there would be much more strict laws abided by. And I'll tell you that I just feel that maybe the minister's a bit too quick to make a response, and she should have left it a day or two. I just think her response is kind of just sort of an ad hoc one, and that I'm not sure she thought well enough about this. I thought the likes of the Maya Doherty's in there and people who would be involved in production would have known better, and I'm just mesmerised, and I wonder what's next for RTE. That would be my main concern. What is next?
Well, can you imagine a scenario too where this report is put together? It's an RTE report, and it's handed to the Minister of Media, and the Minister of Media does not know who the 1 to 26 individuals are. They're simply numbers. So number 3 said this, and number 5 interjected and said that. So the media minister, it's actually laughable. The media minister is sitting with a report on her lap, right? And she simply does not know who the players are. And then she's going on the media, which is good, and answering questions with this cloak of anonymity thrown across the key decision makers in RTE. How is that acceptable?
Well, I'm not sure how many members are on this board, so therefore 5 out of that are still there. You wouldn't want to be hanging them out to dry either, because, you know, there could be legal aspects of this that we need to look at and be very careful about. But I'm just wondering what's down the line for RTE.
Well, so we have a situation now, if there's problems in the HSE, if there's problems in RTE, if there's problems in the Department of Social Welfare, we can never, ever, ever talk about it because there could be legal ramifications, yet nothing ever comes of those legal ramifications. It's do you not know? Does that not frustrate you?
I do think the last hurdle we had in relation to RTE that went to, I'm not sure it should have been in the Oireachtas that it was fought, and it should have been in the courts. I felt that they went down the wrong road in relation to hunting down Ryan Tubridy and doing various things like that. So I'm not sure that's the road to be going. Come in to speak to TDs who may not be versed and like our minister on the whole issue. So I have huge areas of concern about the governance and about what else is going to come out about RTE. It scares the life out of me.
Well, I think also that Oireachtas committee had a role to play on our behalf, identifying some of this stuff before they did. But anyway, Michael White, what's your view?
First of all, we should have a GoFundMe the next time you need a television, Greg. That's terrible. You're reduced.
I'm just trying to use a real world example of in a private company.
I was being trying to be funny there. But
no, you are, Michael White. Can I just say? That was hilarious, but not laugh out loud hilarious. So please don't be discouraged with your wit and humour. Go ahead.
All right. Well, if you work with large organisations as well, you'll find out that to buy a pack of A4 paper, you normally have to go through some kind of process.
Yes.
Small amounts are really eyeballed, yet some idiot in senior management can go off and do make some huge expensive mistake. So that's not unusual. The case of the RTE thing, it's bizarre from start to finish. Like, what were they thinking? As you say, did somebody even think they'd make a profit out of this? We're going to head off into musical theatre. The governance thing, I think it's really weird in the report that they didn't name the individuals. Like, governance is serious. If there are cases where people go to jail for financial irregularities, you know, with private companies, that does happen. In this case, it still doesn't seem clear enough to me that somebody's going to get wrapped on the knuckles, or there's going to be some kind of outcome from this that will be satisfactory for the public. It looks like it's just going to trundle on a bit. I think Minister Martin's correct that turfing out all of the board right now wouldn't work. Just from the mechanics, if you ever see how long it takes to replace a board and individuals in the screening process, I think she needs to have the people in place at the moment just to keep things ticking over. So I don't think that's a bad decision, but if you've been on a board before, this is kind of shocking. It's surprising that a decision of this amount of money could be made without, apparently there wasn't actually a decision made. They had some meetings taking place where 3 people were invited, others weren't. So the point Doreen's making, though, is that I would like to see this. I'd like to see people brought to account and get this wrapped up as soon as possible, because it's a bigger problem which relates to the point I think we're coming to later on. We rely on public broadcasters in Ireland as well as private broadcasters to provide us with information that we can trust. The longer this goes on, the greater the distrust it will show about RTE, and that's a bad thing.
Well, that's it. You see, is that not the bigger picture? Because, I understand all of your saying, and this is not a criticism you at all, but it's the old saying, when you're explaining, you're losing. And if they want to have the public faith back, well, maybe you do have to make those tough decisions and do have to go that nightmare process of reappointing a board. Like this week alone, nothing against the person at all, but Oliver Callanan was, it is Oliver Callanan, isn't it? He replaces, and he's a popular choice. He replaces now Ryan Tubridy in that 9 to 10 slot, but he's on 150k a year. Ryan Tubridy has left RTE and he's working 3 times as much as Oliver Callanan, and he's on £90,000 sterling. So, was Oliver Callanan offered 110,000? Was he offered 100? Was he offered 80? Was he offered 90? I mean, do you not think Michael McLaughlin, and I would hate to dig into people's private and personal lives, especially someone who I have a bit of respect for in Oliver, is anything actually changing?
Well, yes. I think they've brought in the caps on salaries, which is definitely something different to what we were a year ago, in reference to specific individual salaries. I think, isn't there a clause in Callanan's contract that he can't work for anybody else? Because lots of these very high-flying presenters tend to do a number of other things as well. So Ryan Tubridy, I believe he's free to do other things with other broadcasters, should that. So I think that comes into play on that one.
Yeah, but obviously it's not like golden handcuffs. He's got the radio show, which happens to be broadcast on RTE. He's got a sketch show, which just happens to be broadcast on RTE. Okay, he's not going to be able to do the €1,000 awards speech stuff, but he's well looked after within RTE. I think he'll be okay.
I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying that he isn't well paid. I think it gets into a broader question about valuing things and what the value of it should be. And we must recognize that, this is someone who is well educated, trained, experienced, has done all of those things, and whatever is a commensurate level for that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, sitting at this side of the fence, yes, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not as much money as what used to be paid, so that's going in the right direction.
Okay, listen, thank you for that. Stay where you are. That's the voice there of Michael McLaughlin. We also have Michael White and Doreen Sheridan Kennedy back with more after these.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Enter the Virgin Media Playhouse for unbelievable value from Ireland's best broadband. Get 500 meg super fast, reliable broadband for just €35 a month for 12 months. And no activation fee when you act now. Switch in-store or at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media, it's playtime.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. Subject to location and availability. New customers only. 12-month contract. 500 meg broadband. €70 thereafter. Ireland's best broadband awarded by Umlaut. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
Attention school leavers. Join us for Southwest College's full-time and apprenticeship open days. Visit our campuses in Dungannon on the 23rd of January, Enniskillen on the 30th of January, and Uma on the 6th of February from 3 to 7 p.m. Participate in workshops and demonstrations and meet your future tutors. Whether you're passionate about business, engineering, healthcare or the arts, we have something for everyone. Study near, go far at Southwest College. Visit swc.ac.uk for details.
New this week in Home Store and More. All bathroom towels are all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price bathroom towels are gone, they're gone. Also, all recycling kitchen bins and all artificial plants are still all half price. But when all the half price recycling kitchen bins and all the half price artificial plants are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Frascati Centre, Blackrock. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Winter sale now on at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms. 10% off all purchases for a limited period. T's and C's apply. See in store. Book a free consultation today in our Donegal Town showroom on 074 97 25 822. Luxury kitchens and bedrooms at affordable prices. Expect more and get more at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms.
It's time to visit Ireland's newest Lexus dealership, Lexus Letterkenny. With 50 years of experience, you can trust us in this new era of electrification. Experience our all-electrified range, including the stunning ES Hybrid Saloon and our award-winning range of plug-in hybrid SUVs. And view our finance offers, including the all-new LBX. Start your 2-for-1 journey with Lexus Letterkenny Port Road. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Hi, Greg. Nothing will happen, the people in RTE. If they do get cornered, they'll throw a sickie. They are indicative of systemic inefficiency, nepotism and overall waste of taxpayers' money. When the board had no accountability at all, why should the board be allowed to stay on? Should be gone, no need for them. Another, politics has failed all people of Ireland. No party can be trusted. They say one thing before an election and blatantly disregard what they stood for, with no regards for the people who voted for them, especially young people. That's why thousands are leaving every month. Another, I've only ever been at one council meeting in my life in 2019. Everyone should see how the council works or not. It was for the very successful first motion in Ireland calling upon the government to recognise and address parental alienation. 30 councillors out of 31 voted on and passed similar motions in Ireland. More in the north. It was one of the events that influenced the Department of Justice's Act. The Paul County councillors criticised on social media and powerless in the council where planning is concerned, published the Moriarty report. Michael McLaughlin said that the leader of the Labour Party is well versed and well educated to have an opinion and speak out. Are they saying you need to be educated to be a good leader? Some of the best leaders have no formal education. I don't think we were referencing formal education. There's Life Smart, there's Book Smart, there's all different types of smarts, and I think all of us possess them in one form or other. If this is the case, it is not making it very attractive to become part of politics. You don't need to have a good education to be a good leader. But as I say, I don't think that's quite what you said.
No, not at all. It was just, I think that, and we've witnessed this globally, women leaders come in for a very difficult time. And I think that, Ivana is someone who is well prepared, who works very, very hard, who is clever and has the skills necessary to lead very well and to be in public life. And, it's not about formal education at all, nor that wasn't the reference at the time.
A vote for the Green Party in Donegal is like putting €50 on a donkey in the Grand National. They've ruined the country along with Fine Gael. Michael White, I'm sure you would say it's not a donkey, it's red rum or something. You would argue you're putting money money on.
Anybody who voted for the Green Party, you can see, whether you like it or not, the impact a relatively small number of representatives in the Dáil have had. We've had a big influence on policy, and I think it's an influence for the better, and the country's going to be better for it. So we're taking steps that will help to.
I've got one for you too.
Impacts of climate change. So I think it's been a good thing.
I get you. I've got one for you too, Doreen. Doreen will defend Fine Gael to the death. Joe McHugh left the party due to defective concrete, but still supported every no confidence vote. Only hollow words on his part.
No, sorry, I just don't agree with that. He made a stand in relation to Mycan. People know that. He's still a member of Fine Gael and a member of the Milford electoral area. And that's his choice, the route that he's going at the moment. I want to support Michael White in relation to the Green Party there. I mean, that new legislation that they announced yesterday in relation to biodiversity and all is just fantastic, and hopefully that will come to fruition. And I would put that down to the Green Party and the work that they're promoting within government. I think it's very, very good, and I would congratulate Labour or congratulate the Green Party in relation to that.
Thanks, Doreen. And things like, 50% off public transport for younger people and stuff like that. So there's lots of good things, I think, but it's up to people to decide.
Well, where will I get one of these buses? Not that I'm a young person, Michael. Where am I going to get one of these buses? I can't.
Well, you can get one from Greencastle to Letterkenny, for example. There's more bus routes.
What time does that leave at in the morning?
It leaves, I think, around 7:45. Or might actually earlier than that, but anyway, it gets you to ATU on time. So
that's all right. So
very good.
The International Court of Justice in The Hague is set to give its decision today in South Africa's case against alleged genocide by Israel in Gaza, as the world watches to see whether the judges will order a ceasefire. At a 2-day hearing this month, South Africa asked the court to issue provisional measures requiring Israel to immediately end its military campaign in Gaza, which began after the 7th of October attacks by Hamas, although some would say it predates that. Here in Ireland, the Social Democrats' motion calling on the government to support South Africa's case against Israel under the Genocide Convention in the International Court of Justice was defeated in Dáil. The government put forward a counter motion. It passed 71 votes to 62. And the government's motion said it would strongly consider an intervention in the South Africa versus Israel case as a matter of urgency after the court has made its orders on preliminary measures and the filling by South Africa of its presentation in the case, and following the necessary legal and policy analysis. So they adopted a wait-and-see approach. They say they may well do so, but they're going to wait for the court to decide itself. I'll stay with you, Michael White, since you're up on my screen. This is a complex issue, and it's an international issue. It's a global issue. But of course, we all have our own individual views on it. I mean, do you think the government should have backed that motion? I mean, I can't see any scenario in which they would, because they want to wait and see and have their own sort of hand on their own rudder, so to speak. But what's your view on the events of the last week and the potentials today?
Well, if you want to back up at a higher level, 25,000 civilians have been killed in Gaza, so what everybody wants is for that to stop. The ACJ, the International Court of Justice case in South Africa, I think what the Green Party's view is that, yeah, we do wait and see the results in the next few days, preliminary results, and then we're recommending that we probably want to go in and back the South African case. The reason we want to back the South African case, though, is because 25,000 civilians have been killed, and we want that to stop. So what everybody wants, there's quite a few things here. One is everybody wants that to stop, and how do you get Israel to stop doing what they're doing? The people that have the greatest influence on that are the states. So I think the ACJ case is important because it's trying to push that along, but that on its own won't do it. These are just questions as well. There's a risk of a much wider regional conflict. What's going on? You've got the Iranians backing Hamas there. You've got the Iranians also working closely with the Russians. You've got the Houthis who are backed by Iran now attacking traffic. There's a really strong, I'd say this is, we're at a riskier position now than we've been since the 1990s.
But in relation to that, if you look back at the language that was used in relation to Russia, that was used by the Irish government, incredibly strong. You know, it felt a little bit like our position on neutrality shifted us right before our eyes, and now it's a let's wait and see, and we'll see what the story is. And we've spoke quite strongly in the past. Is this not an issue of a scale such as you've just outlined with the horrendous loss of life that we have to say, you know what, and maybe we shouldn't have had to wait for people for profit to put their motion forward, be far more vocal in our opposition to what's going on, because it does feel that we're trying to take a position but also not upset Washington or Brussels.
I don't think that is what was first. There's two things. There's an ACJ case in relation to Ukraine, and Ireland went through the same sequence. We waited for a preliminary judgment before we stepped in and backed it. So that's the timing in this case would be the same. The other thing that's different is that the Russian attack in Ukraine was entirely unprovoked. There were no Ukrainian soldiers in Russia. The Russians just came in and whacked them.
Well, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of that. But the Russians would claim, and there is documentation of this, that there was ongoing shelling of people in the Donbass region and elsewhere. I'm not saying that.
The point is making, Greg, is that most people wouldn't accept that. Most people would think the Russians acted entirely wrong. I think for the first month after October the 7th, most people were thinking that's really bad what happened in Israel, and you can understand they're going to react to something. But that quickly turned into absolute revulsion. And the other thing is, because there's a history of this where the Israelis have grossly overreacted and punished Palestinian civilians, very quickly people were saying, here we go again. And so that's
do you believe, just two questions. Firstly, and this is not on your party, whatever, just as an individual, and I'm not trying to paint you into a corner or anything, but firstly, do you believe that Israel is engaging in genocide?
My understanding genocide would be that you're trying to eradicate an entire people and culture. That wouldn't be. I don't think that's what's happening. But I do think there's war crimes happening. I think that during the week they shot a man waving a white flag.
Yeah, but displace them en masse. That's also a. that's also a criteria for genocide
to get them out of Gaza.
So if we believe us as individuals that that's actually what's happening, then do we not have to call that out at our earliest opportunity?
We do, and I think we're trying to. But I mean, going back to what we're trying to get them to stop killing civilians, and let's try to figure out what's the most effective way. Is it going through the ICJ, or is there some other way to get that to stop? And then that's the question.
Okay, Michael McLaughlin, your views, please.
I think, first of all, just to consider what the motion before the ICJ is, and it's not that South Africa have to prove that there is genocide happening, but there is potential for genocide. And if you are stopping water and aid and food getting into an area before you consider the bombing that's going on, then there certainly is, you're skating very close to the edge here. I agree. I think we need to be calling this out. I think we need to shift the international conversation. That's not to detract at all from the events of the 7th of October, but where we're witnessing these kind of levels of civilian death, it's just unacceptable, and we can't be saying that that's okay.
But should we not be? I just wonder if we were an independent country, would our position be different? But then again, we'd probably be reliant on other countries again for security. It's just that I think we did have very early on the head of the EU speaking out on all of our behalf, in complete backing of what Israel were doing, even as it seemed quite clear what they were trying to achieve. We have a situation whereby the Israel leadership don't see any future for a Palestinian state. The entire population has been moved. You've talked of other things like, this will be, just if we reflect on how this might be viewed in 20, 30 or 40 years, if not sooner, right? But we can see it right now. Why are we hanging around waiting? Do you not think, Michael McLaughlin, that we should be taking an international stand here? Or am I being naive?
I'd never accuse you of being naive, Greg. I think, first of all, at the very beginning, I think President Higgins stood up and said, oh, hang on a minute, you're not talking for us here. And so, we were very clearly calling it out at that point. I think we need to realise the size of Ireland in this context also, and the impact that we can have as a small country. We have some soft power with the US who seem to be deaf at the moment, I think. And I think that's a big trouble. But yes, I mean, we need to look at saying what we believe in and what we think about this. And, I personally wouldn't understand why we wouldn't support the South African.
But I can also see the angle from a government perspective in the procedure. So you wait 2 days after this motion, you see what the ICJ has to say, and then you adopt a position. I understand that maybe it is slightly more complex than I might present it. Doreen, what's your view?
I think it's a very complex issue, and I'm not sure I'm well enough read on it. Michael White and Michael McLaughlin seem to be more up to date with all that. But it's like asking me, what do I think of the situation in Northern Ireland and why there's no government? The bottom line to all this is that there is history of years and years of persecution of different, and how people have been misplaced and what's going on. And then you have to look to the US and see who's running the government in the US and what's going on there, and who runs the Senate, and are there a lot of Jews in the Senate that are deciding what's going on, or what kind of... It is massive. It really is massive. And I fear for what's happening. And I really think that Micheál Martin, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, handled very well in the Dáil this week, and that they're moving at a pace that is right for this country at the moment. And that's the way it has to go.
There's quite there is opportunism too on the opposite benches as well. I mean, that has to also you can propose a motion in opposition where you can put your opponents in a damned if they do and damned if they don't position as well. And I hope voters and viewers can see through that as well. That's no criticism of any individuals, but, it's not always government bad, opposition good. You can see what's going on sometimes as well. And I think it's really important that the public sort of see through the rhetoric sometimes.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think as well, even some of the people who spoke in opposition to the government on the motions this week were criticising also England and the stance taken by various political parties in England in relation to this, so as a country we're well up there, and I do think we're handling it well, and it's going at the pace that it should be going at, and like Michael White has referred to, we've been here before, and I think the steps have been taken in the right direction.
All right, back with more after these. It's our last section after the break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of a butcher cutting through his costs. A tech company developing their sustainability plan. And a brewery getting production flowing nicely. It's all in a day's work for small businesses all across Ireland. So whatever your business, your local enterprise office is here to help you save time, money and energy. To see how, visit allinadayswork.ie. Brought to you by your local enterprise office and supported by Enterprise Ireland and the local authorities, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
Is that the new Opel?
Yes, of course.
Does it really look that good?
Yes, of course.
Is it fun to drive?
Yes, of course.
Is it packed with smart tech?
Yes, of course.
Can I test drive it right now at Heron Auto Opel?
Yes, of course.
The new Opel Corsa, now available. Hybrid and electric coming soon. See heronopel.ie for details.
The big winter sale is now on at Ben Sweeney Euronics in Letterkenny and Dunlow. Get a Samsung 43-inch smart LED TV for €389. The Miele Classic Powerline vacuum cleaner for just €169. Or the new Ninja Blast portable blender for only €59. Save big in the Euronics winter sale, now on in Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, and the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air to water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Mostly dry today with bright to sunny spells and a few showers. Highest temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees and a moderate to fresh and gusty west to southwest winds strong at times near western coasts. The group which owns the Irish Independent is seeking 50 voluntary redundancies from the newspaper. Its boss says that within 10 years, it's most likely not going to be producing a daily physical newspaper as they move to digital. The issue is, however, that people, the general population right across the world, are reluctant to pay for digital news at a level that is required to make it sustainable. So, Michael White, I'll start with you. What is the future for print journalism and its funding? Actually, before I get to that, I suppose you can't really speak about it publicly because you get the wrath of every newspaper, but do you sleep at night with all the paper that's used and all the ink and all the travelling to get newspapers around the country? I would love to know what the environmental impact is. I'm not anti-newspaper, pro-newspaper, but I just wonder, have you ever thought about it?
Environmental impact, but it's wood pulp, so it can potentially be less of an environmental impact. That is an issue, but I think it's going to be less of an issue because it is moving to digital going forward. But then that has issues as well. But the main point is we need good both national and local media, and it's at risk. I think in the UK, it's gone from being a 2.5 billion business down to a 200 million business. All that money was sucked from the newspapers over to Google and Facebook. Is that an issue? It really is. Like the fact, say, Highland and the news coverage you provide and the debates of local issues, that's super important for a bunch of reasons. One of them, from my point of view, democracy needs an informed population. We need to have all people in Donegal clearly informed about issues that relate to them locally and nationally. And if you don't have good newspapers and good coverage, that's not going to happen. The second thing is that some bad actors are deliberately trying to destroy faith in journalism. Like in the States, Steve Bannon, who was in the Trump campaign, outright said that's what he's going to try and do. He's kind of trying to diminish faith in journalism so they could screw up the message. So that hasn't happened yet in Ireland, and we need to make sure it doesn't. So that's the big long-winded thing about why media is important. The practical things and what the Independent's boss was saying is that the issue is the money has gone out of advertising over to the big online platforms, and how do we fix that? And I think that everybody's trying to figure that out.
Yeah, and it is actually something that no one has yet been able to figure out, which is concerning. I'll come back to you if time permits. Doreen, what's your view?
Well, I suppose I have to say what I do myself and what's important. You know, I listen to Highland. I go online to Donegal Daily every day. I like the idea, you know, of getting the national press online as well. I'm not sure I'm happy to be paying the money they're looking for you to join in that, you know, but I will still be buying my Tyrconnell Tribune and my Derry People to digest over the weekend, and by Saturday I'll have it totally digested, you know. So that's the kind of generation I think I'm in, and that I like the newspaper, and I do think, and there are some fantastic journalists out there, and I think it's very important, and it's a career, but the way I suppose our new journalists are being trained now, and it's all to do with digital and marketing, and that's very important. But sure, the world is moving so quick, God only knows, you know, it's no more than books in schools and having tablets for children. There's a whole big question out there, but you know, at the end of the day, we want children to be reading books, we want people to be reading papers.
You see, I think it's the appetite. I find myself zoning out a little bit after the second paragraph. Now, it's more on me than others, but you know, I don't know if I've been so conditioned that, you know, you get really the thrust of it. The colour and commentary, I kind of zone out for it, but that's just me personally. I just wonder what the appetite for some of this stuff might actually be. Michael McLaughlin.
Thanks, Greg. I just want to echo both what Doreen and Michael said there. Firstly, in terms of the importance of a reliable media, and journalists are the backbone of that. The appetite, I'm the wrong person to ask about the appetite, because I have a subscription to 3 different daily online newspapers.
Oh, we found them. We found the person.
Well, I hope that they're not just relying on me. I hope there's at least one other person. And I delighted in moving on to
So what do you read it on? The papers?
I read it on my iPad.
And do you read the news articles, or is it more features and columnists that you're interested in?
I read the whole thing cover to cover.
Right, okay. Brilliant. That's the future. All right, we shall see. There's a big hoo-ha about how it's all going to be funded, and I have my own views too on I think the role the media has in terms of making the public feel that they are actually getting a fully balanced and open conversation. I think that's a challenge for some. Michael,
but you also have the issue, I mean, just again, to the reason it's important, things like corruption, or say one of the biggest, in my view, one of the greatest pieces of journalism ever was the States of Fear documentaries produced, you know, where that opened up all the scandals we had about church or politics or corruption. We wouldn't have had that without good local Irish journalism, and that's important that we retain that.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
I mean, even if we look at the impact that the documentary, or the whatever it was, on the post office and the post office scandal in the UK that had.
But you see, I think that's actually really not a very good argument, because the media, possibly in the way it should have covered it, somewhat ignored it, and it actually took a drama to be the catalyst of change. So
it was interesting to look into the formulation of that, and the lady who wrote it. It was the journalism behind it, and the journalism from the Computer Weekly or whatever it was, and something else that informed.
Okay, well, you clearly know more about this than me, so I'm terminating the conversation. I'm joking. Michael McLaughlin, I have to, because it's nearly 10. Michael McLaughlin, Secretary of the Labour Party in Donegal. Have a good day. Take care of yourself. Michael White, as always, it took me till about 7 minutes past 9 to realise there were 2 Michaels. My apologies, Michael. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Thanks,
take care of yourself. And last, certainly not least, Doreen Sheridan Kennedy. Thank you for your time, and have a lovely weekend, Doreen.
Thanks very much. Just to say, it's lovely to see the Letterkenny pantomime back in the theatre in Letterkenny. Well done, Patrick Doherty. It's a credit to him.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Lovely stuff. Take care of yourself. Thank you for all of your calls and comments coming in throughout the course of this morning. We're going to take a break for the news and obituary notices. We'll come back with, of course, more guests, more content, more comments. That's all just around the corner.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
There's 25% off all clothing at F&F until Sunday 28th of January with your Tesco Club card or app. That's 25% off cosy jumpers, leggings and knits. Perfect for a nice long walk. Or, better yet, a nice short one. F&F. Fashion at Tesco. Subject to availability. Available in the majority of larger stores.
On this week's Business Matters on Sunday, after the 6 o'clock news, my guest is John Graham of Ballyholy Farm Shop, Rufo.
Business Matters in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. For a career in financial governance, consider the Level 9 MA in Governance and IT in Financial Services, starting in January. Contact the Exec Ed Coordinator on 9186206 or email donald.hannigan@atu.ie today.
So he was like messaging me all night and then he just ghosted me.
No way.
Yeah. He was like, "You're so hot. I want to come over."
Okay.
And I was like, "Cool." And he was like, "I'm on my way, driving over right now."
And then?
Nothing.
Phone use while driving can be deadly. Your phone, it won't kill you to put it away. From the Road Safety Authority, visit rsa.ie.
Time is running out. Get to Harkin Fireplaces in Lifford for the final week of their January yard sale. Discover great deals on fireplaces, stoves, electric fires, gas fires and elegant kitchen worktops. Your dream fireplace or kitchen worktop awaits at an unbeatable price, but the clock is ticking. Don't miss out. Harkin Fireplaces' massive yard sale ends January 31st.
Newly engaged and planning your wedding? If so, the Villa Rose and Jackson's Dual Wedding Showcase takes place on Saturday, January 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. Come along and view both stunning wedding venues and meet the dedicated wedding teams at Villa Rose and Jackson's Ballybuffet.
Saturday's Lotto jackpot is an estimated €14.8 million. So, what's the first thing you'd do with €14.8 million? That is genius. Better get a ticket soon. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A pay increase of just over 10% has been offered to public sector workers by the government. Talks have been continuing overnight after they failed to reach agreement in meetings earlier this month. Public sector unions had been pushing for pay hikes of 12.5%. Industry correspondent with the Irish Independent, Anne-Marie Walsh, says negotiations are ongoing this morning.
They're still in there and they're finalising the details of these new proposals. What I understand is that the officials from Minister Paschal Donohoe's office have offered 10.25% to the country's 385,000 public servants over 2.5 years. So this would be an increase of just less than 2% on his previous offer at the talks.
A 63-year-old man is due before Strabane Magistrates Court next month following an arrest in the Ballycoman area yesterday. The charges include being concerned in the supply of Class B drugs, possession of a Class B controlled drug and possession of a Class B controlled drug with intent to supply. The Media Minister believes the RTE board should remain in place. For now, Catherine Martin says a Grant Thornton report into the Toy Show the Musical highlights serious failings in governance, oversight and financial management. The RTE board acknowledged a significant lapse in oversight, with the report into the €2.2 million flop showing a significant risk that it would never break even. Minister Catherine Martin says she's waiting for government-commissioned reports on the RTE saga and says the board will stay in place for the time being.
Certainly the board didn't ask the key questions and weren't provided with the information, and approval was never on an agenda of any meeting and is never minuted. And they've acknowledged now that those questions should have been asked and the project should have been interrogated. What I'm saying is that I have confidence in the chair and I have confidence in how the board is working now.
There's a call for a statutory investigation into government decisions made during the COVID pandemic. NT leader Peadar Tóibín has criticised the state's plans for an evaluation on its response to COVID. He's describing its no-blame approach as politically self-serving. Deputy Tóibín says the government's handling of the virus had a negative effect on society.
The COVID crisis in the state was, without parallel for generations in how it affected society. Many people, from people in nursing homes, people in schools, people in work, housing, etc., were negatively affected by what happened during COVID. And we need to have a full investigation of the governments and other decisions that were made to make sure that we don't let this type of crisis happen again.
A 48-year-old man arrested yesterday in connection with an unnotified parade in Derry last year has been released without charge. The parade took place on April 10th in the Cregan area. A report is to be sent to the Public Prosecution Service. Uisce Éireann says customers may experience supply interruptions around Greencastle today, with the areas affected including Upper Drumawere and Crockelms. A traffic management plan is in place for the duration of the works. They're scheduled to take place until 2 o'clock this afternoon. In southwest Donegal, meanwhile, investigations are ongoing into reports of supply disruptions affecting Kilcar and surrounding areas. 516 homes and businesses are still without power in the county, 283 of them in the vicinity of Kilcar. There are 7 outages across the county being dealt with by ESB networks, including issues in Buncrana, Moville, Newton Cunningham and Convoy. The Irish Home Builders Association has welcomed latest housing completion figures, but says many more homes need to be delivered in order to meet demand. Government figures suggest that completion targets were exceeded by more than 3,500 last year. 32,695 new homes were delivered, the highest number since 2008. The director of the Irish Home Builders Association, Conor O'Connell, says initiatives introduced to accelerate home building are working.
It's another indication of the positive momentum that's building in relation to housing supply. I think it's fair to say that the Housing for All supplementary measures that were announced and introduced last April are yielding results now. We are seeing it in commencements and completions. And we look forward to building upon that momentum over the next 12 months and delivering more homes for more people.
Well, Focus Ireland is urging the government to continue to allocate a portion of social housing to those trapped in homelessness. The call comes ahead of the release of the Department of Housing's latest homeless statistics, which are to be published later today. The last figures published show 13,514 people accessing emergency accommodation. That figure is expected to fall today, but the Director of Advocacy at Focus Ireland, Mike Allen, says while any reduction is welcome, it's going to take a lot of time to solve the problem.
Now that we can clearly see that they're giving a fair share of social housing to families that are long-term homes and individuals long-term homes, when it's clear that it works, we believe it should be obviously clear to local authorities and government that it should continue. And if that is the case, I think we can begin to see a slow decline in homelessness. It will take a long time to solve it, but it is a solvable problem.
Weather forecast mostly dry today with bright or sunny spells and a few showers. Cooler than recently. Top temperatures today just 7 or 8 degrees Celsius in a moderate to fresh and gusty west to southwest wind, strong at times, particularly near western coastal areas. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with headlines at 11 o'clock. Check all of today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Friday morning, January 26th. The death has taken place of Ernie Bell, Galdonna Manor, Cunningham. Remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral service at his home tomorrow at 3 p.m, followed by burial in Rafo Congregational Church graveyard. House strictly private and family flowers only, please. The death has taken place in Kirkcaldy, Fife, Scotland, of Elizabeth Lily McCrabb, née Hamilton, formerly of Pluck Manor, Cunningham. Her remains will arrive at Larne Harbour tomorrow at 10 a.m. to follow on to Rafo Presbyterian Church at approximately 12:45 p.m. to repose overnight. Funeral service there on Sunday at 2:30, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu if desired to Rafo Presbyterian Church, care of Terence McClintock, funeral directors. The death has taken place of Lila Crossan, née McGavigan, late of Melmount Villas and Ballycolman Estate, Strabane, formerly of Lifford. Reposing at her daughter Dorina Cassidy's home, 80 Ballycolman Estate, today from 12 noon. Funeral leaving her daughter's home on Sunday at 11:45 a.m. for Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 12:30. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Kathleen Doherty, ní Barron, 126 Racecourt Road, Ballyarnet. Remains reposing at her home today from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow at 12 noon. For 12:30 Requiem Mass in St Bridget's Church, Carnhill. Interment afterwards in the city cemetery. The death has taken place of Pat Lynch, Gortleck, Linsford. Pat's remains are reposing at his late residence. Removal from there at 10:15 tomorrow morning, going to the Star of the Sea Church, Desert Tegney for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Everyone welcome today from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. House private tomorrow, please, before the funeral. The death has taken place of Timothy O'Dowd, 14 Nancy's Lane, Strabane. Funeral is ongoing in the Sacred Heart Church, Derry Road. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed now live via the parish webcam. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Here are last week's road safety figures. Over 3,000. The number of penalty point notices issued. 110. The number of drivers arrested on suspicion of drink or drug driving. And 2. The number of people killed on our roads. Behind these numbers is a story of lost lives, broken families and devastated communities. If you can improve just one thing about your driving, you can help save lives on our roads. From the Road Safety Authority and An Garda Síochána.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show, with Greg Hughes.
You're very welcome back to the programme, 9 minutes past 10. Good morning if you're just after joining us. Our thanks once again to Michael McLaughlin from Labour, Doreen Sheridan Kennedy, an advocate for Fine Gael, of course, and Michael White, chair of the Green Party. We appreciate their contributions. We appreciate, we have all different voices of all different backgrounds on this programme, and people agree and disagree, but 99 times out of 100, it's all done very respectfully. Who appointed the RTE board of incompetence? Same parties as so many incompetent boards running publicly funded agencies and boards. Time for them to go, and time for the media to go after them for the incompetence and possible corruption in some cases. No accountability is the byword of Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, previously Labour and now the Greens. I'm sick listening to the term, says a listener, so that it may never happen again. It always does in some shape or form. As for RTE, I suppose this can is heavier to carry than the can Ryan Tubridy had to carry, but sure, it can be written off as bad debt. Tell Doreen that I can't wait for Fine Gael to canvass at my door. My house is crumbling around me. Can't get on the unfair redress scheme, which is nowhere near 100%. My life is destroyed because of it. I really look forward to meeting them. Yeah, it's going to be a big issue. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. And even this week, we heard 3 personal stories. As you know, we continue to platform that issue here on the show. We heard 3 different stories, all affected by the same. One in that a person, there's no leeway in the scheme to accommodate people's life. Say for instance a child with a disability or additional needs or what have you. Another house crumbling around, no alternative accommodation. Others then talking about the dangers it poses just living in these houses to people's long-term health, and on it goes. And those voices will continue to be heard on this programme until such time as people feel that the right decision has been made. Are the Greens still facilitating gold mining in Inishowen? I'm not sure. Last time I checked, there were licenses and scouting and stuff. I'm not sure what the story is there. Can you ask Michael how we can get to Galway for an early hospital appointment? No bus if you have an electric car, no charge points. Eamon Ryan on your show had no answer, maybe in 2 to 3 years, indeed. And, the interview with Eamon Ryan, sometimes it is the answers or the non-answers that people can take on board and say, well, what does this mean? If we wait any longer, there'll be no one left in Gaza. We all know the government are afraid to upset America, says the listener. It's not just the government, though. The annual St. Patrick's Day Exodus is taking place. The government will be over there. I believe Mary Lou McDonald's travelling over to meet as well. I mean, are you in favour of that? Do you think a stand could be made in that regard? Why is the Green representative not jumping up and down about all the explosives and munitions that the Israelis are using in their war and the massive effect it's having on climate? According to their beliefs, if the Greens caught you burning some rubbish in a barrel in your garden, they'd nearly want to jail you. I think I get the point that you're making, but I think if you, particularly in the Gaza situation, if you started talking about the environmental of explosions and munitions, whilst 25,000 people, most of them children and women, not involved in any conflict at all, you'd be hung, drawn and quartered for that, because you'd be saying, oh, you're worried about the environment but not the... Do you know what I mean? It's not an argument I think can be made. Will Oliver Callan be able to do his Callan Kicks now on a Friday? Yep, indeed, he's continuing with that show now that he's betrothed to the firm, although he did hold out as he got his other gigs. Strange that RTE were against everyone else doing Nixers, as that's what got them into this. RTE is a bit like Hotel California. You can check out any time, but you can never be fired. Thanks, Kevin. You can never be fired. Hi, Greg. How could you vote for Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil that stood for over 100 years shouting across at each other after saying each in turn has destroyed the country, then banded together just to keep another party out? Where is the morals or even their loyalty to such parties? Not in a million years would I vote for the Green Party, says the listener. Regarding governance, says another, perhaps a wake-up call that all public-funded services be scrutinised. Often money thrown at services, example the HSC, education, others, to supposedly enhance services with much overspending in various departments, while other department staff struggle for the basics. One call I'd be very interested in, and this is not in any way to suggest impropriety, but say, for instance, we as parents, guardians, are asked to contribute to schools. We have to pay. Apparently education is free, but this is just one thing. We have to pay towards voluntary. It's not voluntary, but you know what I mean? I would love to see the books. What's the outgoing? What's the spend? Where's the money going? What's left over? What are you short? Why do you have to look for money off parents all the time? Things like that, I think we should have more transparency on. That's nonsense about the National Biodiversity Action Plan. Ask the NGOs like Irish Wildlife Trust or Birdwatch Ireland. God help us, says another, if the Greens get in again, we'll be walking barefoot and using candles in the house if they get their way. And if Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, well, we're finished there too. Not one decent party anymore. They let the people down all the time, says a listener. Greg, can you ask the Green Party why they're against the mother and baby redress scheme? I wasn't sure that they were. I hope that we see Pat the Cope Gallagher back in the local elections, as he's one of the only candidates who worked tirelessly for Donegal. Well, he didn't rule it out. He says he would be there if needed, I think. Caller says many people couldn't afford a TV licence. Many people went to court for €160 and someone was taken to prison for that. 2.2 million in funding, and people who couldn't afford the TV licence were expected to pay it. It's ridiculous. Yeah. That's it. And you're paying on the double as well too, because the RTE is funded. I'm not exactly sure the exact figures. I think it's 148 odd million that they get from the taxpayer, direct funding. Okay, so it's taken out of your taxes in any case, and then there's 148 odd million that they make from the licence fee. I believe that's it. So really, it's actually the public paying on the double, nearly €300 million for RTE. Now, at this point, there is, through Commission Amman, there's some licence payers' money on a very small scale filtering down to stations like this and what have you for specific programmings. But obviously, the absolute vast majority of funding for stations like our News Talk, Highland, Ocean, Shannonside, whatever, it's private. So almost €300 million for the most part is taken from the taxpayer by hook or by crook to fund RTE. A caller says, I hope Fine Gael get a good beating in the local elections and their colleagues in Fianna Fáil. Well, we shall see. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, two very popular parties, very high representations on local authorities. I don't think it's going to be quite the wipeout that people might think it might be. As I say, there's lots of people out there, and often some of the last ones to speak out for one reason or another, who support Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and their policies and what they're doing and their councillors and how they're working for them. But as I say, we don't get as many of those texts in as I would like. And the only reason I would like them is that the comments I read out are more representative of our region. Okay, listen, thanks so much. Keep them coming. Loads to come on the show. Stay right where you are. Let's take a break for the bingo numbers.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 26th of January. You're playing on the yellow sheet. The reference number is S20. It's game number 4. The numbers are 85, 48, 87, 8, 21, 22, 83, 30, 38, and finally 40. Phone your claim to 910-4833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring half-price sale. Get up to 50% off all tiles. Wood flooring, bathware, cladding, everything's reduced. Tiles from only $8.99 per square yard and wood flooring from only $11.99 per square yard. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring half-price January sale ends Sunday.
Hi, Nathan Carter here, and I'm delighted to say I've just had 2 installations from Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, and I have to say their attention to detail is second to none. With their sleek design and craftsmanship, your dream kitchen is just a visit away. So why not head over to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms and let the magic begin.
Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town. More kitchens your way since 1996. Visit cherrymore.ie or call 9725 to book your free design appointment.
Discover comfort with iHeating and Cooling, your trusted heat pump engineers and Mitsubishi approved service providers in Donegal. We design, install and maintain cutting-edge heating systems. Build a lasting relationship with us through annual service and comprehensive after-sales support. Contact us for a free consultation on low-cost, low-carbon heating solutions. Visit iHeatingandCooling.ie today.
Sailor Bill returns to the Ballard Theatre on Saturday the 3rd of February, a night of music and crack with special guest Chelsea Evans. Tickets are €15, are available on the Ballard website at ballardartcentre.com or by calling to the Ballard Theatre front desk.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Okie doke. So the NCBI has been renamed as Vision Ireland and is rebranding its 124 stores across Ireland. And NCBI has become such a familiar moniker for the organisation. Everything remains the same, but the name has been changed to Vision Ireland. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to speak to someone who benefits and works with Vision Ireland, and also we're going to talk a little bit about the bingo, because you do an awful lot in supporting Vision Ireland. So I'm going to say good morning to all of our guests. Katie McGee joins us, has responsibility for the bingo here in Highland. Good morning, Katie.
Hello there, how are you doing?
Good to have you with us, and you might need to stick your headphones on. Sorry, I should have mentioned that beforehand.
No,
okay, because you'll want to hear from Kevin Kelly, National Strategic Partnership Manager with Vision Ireland. Good morning to you, Kevin.
Good morning, Greg, and to all your listeners.
It's great to have you back on the show. And also Danny Cahill, Regional Manager in the Northwest with Vision Ireland. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning, everyone.
Can I start with you to change NCBI to Vision Ireland? I mean, obviously there's brand recognition there, there's signage, there's letterheads, there's whatever. It's a big, big decision, isn't it? But anyway, what was the catalyst behind it and the purpose for it?
Yeah, as you say, it's a big, big decision. I mean, we were founded in 1931, Greg, so that's 93 years. So I was told, probably according to our story, 93 years ago, there was a big decision when we went for that original name. And as you say, Greg, we're known as NCBI and have been for most of that time. I think the biggest issue was there was 2 main reasons. One is people who were being referred to us, and a lot of the healthcare professionals who would refer people to us as well. I think for a lot of people, there's a very strong connotation with blind and blindness. And unfortunately, Greg, as you know, that there are negative connotations with that. So what we wanted to make sure is that as many people as possible who required the service and support from us got it, so that making sure that they were referred to us in a timely manner. And also people themselves didn't feel that, well, hold on here. I know I've been diagnosed with a particular eye condition. I know my sight has changed quite significantly, but I'm not blind. I was told very clearly I would never lose all my sight. So we work with a whole range of people, and I suppose Vision Ireland tries to reflect that. So we are very, very busy, but we also want to make sure that not only people come to us, are referred to us, but also get the service when they require it, rather than maybe years later when they find out actually we work with people across the whole range of sight loss, not just people who are totally blind.
And of course, too, the word vision has multi meanings. Vision being, all encompassing in terms of sight, but also a vision for a country that is inclusive and accessible to people with all visual abilities.
Yes, exactly, and that is, it's a positive. It's a positive thing. Now, I'm not going to pretend everybody's happy with it. I suppose it takes some adjustment, particularly for such an old organisation.
We don't like change, and
we don't. But I think certainly the feedback we've had recently, and particularly from people who've been referred to us, who probably they might have heard of NCBI, they might have heard Greg Highland Radio's NCBI bingo, but weren't really sure what it was and what it entailed. And the feedback we've had over the last couple of months since we did rebrand was, okay, actually, I do realise that you actually are a service that I can benefit from, and I'll tell other people as well, which is exactly why we did it.
Okay, Danny Cahill, Regional Manager in the Northwest with Vision Ireland. Any reluctance from you in the name change?
No, I've been
sorry,
around.
I beg your pardon. Sorry, Danny. That was for Kevin. I beg your pardon. I didn't wish to introduce you twice. I'll come back to you though. Kevin Kelly, National Strategic Partnership Manager with Vision Ireland. What was your take on the name change?
So I think for context, to build on what Danny said, as an organisation, we have been considering changing from NCBI to Vision Ireland, where we ended up over the last 5 years, and there's been a lot of consultation. And I suppose I went on a personal journey myself, as well as being an employee. I'm totally blind. I would have lost my own sight in 2001. So, the word blind really means something to me, and moving to Vision Ireland, does that reflect, someone who's totally blind? But as I was involved in the conversations and listened to the different perspectives, I'm 100% certain that it was the right thing to do, because it's more reflective of the clients or service users that use the services of Vision Ireland, because less than 5% of the people that use the services are totally blind, like myself. So the 95% of people have some level of vision. So I think it was the right thing to do. We're a couple of months on now, as Danny says. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, and over time those people who aren't maybe as happy with it will go on the same journey as myself, and recognize that perhaps it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, and you as to say, you have you lost your sight, you had sight, you lost your sight. You've been through the entire journey, and now working not only with Vision Ireland, but also in Leinster House, and a member of the Irish National Blind Football Development Squad. So you have a heavy workload, Kevin, in the first instance, but an important job I think you're doing across all the various things that you're involved in.
Yeah, no, and the things that I have achieved in my life and in my career to date are very much down to the work of NCBI at the time, now Vision Ireland, who helped me when I lost my sight in 2001. And for your listeners' information, you hear from my accent, I'm actually from Donegal, up there in Clonmany, out in Uris. And Danny was actually my community resource worker back in the day. I'm sure he'll thank me for telling that live on the radio and putting an age on him. But like Danny and the team in the Northwest would have worked with me around providing long cane, training independent living skills, computer and IT skills, and all of those things over a sustained period of time allowed me to return back to the community school, go to college, and do those things that you've achieved. So, I represent, as someone who has really benefited from the services, and I'm a strong advocate for the work of the organisation. And we're here today to talk about the bingo and the support of your listeners to Highland Radio allow us to continue that work, because we only receive 70% of the funds that are required to run our services from the state or the HSE.
Okay, Katie McGee's with us as well. Katie, I mean, this has been a really successful partnership, hasn't it, between Highland Radio, formerly NCBI, now Vision Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, and we're seeing it grow as well, which is brilliant. And I think actually the brand change will only serve to benefit the growth of the bingo as well, because I feel like if you haven't required the services of the NCBI, whether no matter what level of sight impairment you have, you might not know who they are based on the name NCBI, but you certainly will know who you're supporting with the name Vision Ireland. And also, if any of our listeners require those services kind of newly, or told that they might need them down the line, they will know Vision Ireland as a service that they can use. It's very black and white. It's very there, and out there. And yeah, absolutely. Just to give you an idea of how well we did last year, in the year of 2023, we just did shy of €250,000 in sales in bingo books, which is just under 50,000 books that we sold. Put that into perspective, nationwide that might not seem like a lot, but we're not selling nationwide at the moment. We're selling within the Northwest, or our listenership, but we have increased our sales to include online sales. So we have our bingo books on sale through the outlet, which we have discussed at length here on the show through various different for various different things. But the bingo books are there, and we are seeing that bingo books are being sold to people in the likes of Sligo and other counties where we might not necessarily be on air. So it's great, because I'm hoping now in 2024 we're going to see more growth there on top of our very valuable retailer sales, and that will bring it a little bit further down the line.
And for me, what that boils down to is a huge thank you to the players, because what this is all about is raising money for the national raising money for Vision. Kevin, don't laugh at me. This is raising money for Vision Ireland to do the fantastic work that they do. So thanks to each and every one of you out there who buys a bingo book. Yes, there's a bit of fun in it for you, and it's an opportunity for you to win a few bob. But I think this is one of the main motivations from our fantastic listeners, is they know that they're supporting a fantastic organisation that works with so many people locally. So a big thank you for supporting this great initiative. Danny, you do an awful lot of work. We talked earlier on about, I think it was Katie that mentioned people that would be contacting the service for the first time. That's a call that you have to handle with such care and understanding and what have you, isn't it? And you're fully equipped to do that. But you start then on a journey with the person that reaches out to you.
Yeah, I mean, as it was correctly said there, let's be honest. I mean, and that's true for a lot of social and health services. You don't really think about any of them until you require them, or a member of your family requires them, and why would you, unless you have some experience in the past? And I think it's really important that when people contact us for the first time, and for a lot of people, as you say, Greg, it's a big step. It's for some people, it's a recognition that they actually do need help. We find that often people come to us not particularly early in their journey of sight loss. It may have been 1 or 2 years, or even longer in some cases. That they've been dealing with doctors, they've got a diagnosis, they're trying to do their best. But then when they come to us, they actually recognise, well, firstly, that they're not on their own. I think people are quite surprised that I think we worked with well over 600 people in the Northwest last year, and they realise that actually that there are people going through the same thing, and that's really important. And that's why we have peer groups as well who come together, and people can join those groups. Now, luckily through technology, people don't actually have to be physically present. They can join online, but that conversation allows people to, and for some cases as well, Greg, to talk about their situation for the first time.
Yeah.
We often recommend that people come with a family member when they come into our centre here in Letterkenny or in Sligo, because I think it's really important that firstly the person is supported, and we often hear it could be a spouse, it could be a close relative, an adult child who say, you never said any of that before. Yeah. You never discussed this with me. You never told me how you felt. Because I think what's really important, as you say, Greg, that's handled well. Mm-hmm. It's handled sensitively, but also it's not just an outpouring of this is how I'm feeling, this is what the issues are, these are the issues that I'm struggling with, these are the things that I used to be able to do and I've stopped doing, or I don't have the confidence to do. Yes. It's also saying, okay, let's figure out with you what we need to work with you on. Let's figure out with you what your priorities are. What do you want to do? What are the issues that you want to deal with? Where are the areas of your life that you need the support? As Kevin mentioned, there's a whole range of services. Yeah. Now, some people will actually take up
that too,
most of them, but not all. But it's just taking people at their own pace.
Yeah, there's tips and tricks, there's aids, there's technology, there's stuff that where would you even begin to research this yourself that you have all of that knowledge and information on? And Kevin, I think too, everybody's an individual, and I always try and, as much as possible, not to group people in. But I presume for most people, there is like, wow, what does this mean for me? What will I be able to do? Effectively, is my life over? And, I presume there are a whole range of thoughts and emotions that many people go through like that there. And then they can look to someone like you and others within the organisation and other people's stories who've pretty much gone on to achieve everything they wanted to. And perhaps I would say, in some cases, achieve things that they may never have achieved if they hadn't got a particular diagnosis. I'm not saying everything's rosy in the garden either, Kevin, but do you take my point? And that's, I think, the benefit of engaging with an organisation like Vision Ireland.
Absolutely, because everyone's story of sight loss is unique in how they feel about it, and it depends on when it happens to you. Looking at my own example, losing it when I was 14 quite suddenly, that was a huge transition, and myself or my family, we didn't know what was next, what was going to be possible. I had people saying to me, sure, on the plus side, you won't have to go to school again, and comments like that, but I quickly discovered that wasn't the case. And you are right, and I think it's very important to get across that you might want support. There could be somebody listening this morning that might be struggling to, read the newspaper, one of the local papers that we have in Donegal, due to their vision impairment. But there are aids that are available through the Letterkenny office and the Sligo office that can make that possible. There's also technology. It's rapidly developing. There's very few things now that I can't do on a computer or on a phone that a sighted person can't do. And that's all due to technology. And that's evolved in the 20 odd years at such a rapid pace. And Yes, I can say for absolute certainty, if I hadn't lost my sight, I wouldn't have represented my country in any sport. But I've played for Ireland 8 times, and organisations like Vision Ireland played a key part in my rehabilitative journey and got me up on my feet and supported me through that hugely traumatic life event for myself.
Yeah, and there's other stuff, advocacy stuff as well. Parking on footpaths, street furniture, overhanging branches, dog poo, and on it goes. And Vision Ireland has a very important role in sparking those conversations, as it does a number of times throughout the year as well. But we as individuals ourselves have to make changes, little things even. Like I used to do put text over images. Until I was pulled up by a regular listener that says, I can't, my reader can't read that. I'm like, all right, didn't realise it, haven't done it again since. It's just little, and that is little things in the wider scale of what we're talking about, but it's just thinking a little bit about how we are all different and have different abilities to access stuff. Right, Katie, in terms of the bingo then, so our listenership is so incredibly generous in supporting Vision Ireland. It truly is amazing. But, there's something in it for them as well. So just remind us of the structure of the bingo. You play 5 times a week, cash prizes, jackpots.
Yep.
Go on.
Absolutely. First of all, you're so right, and I didn't mention that, and I do apologise, but thank you so much to all the regular players and to all the new players that I'm seeing coming on and buying the bingo books. It really is appreciated, and as you've heard, the money's going to such an exceptional cause. But the structure of the bingo, we have daily prizes each day starting at €400. So each day the bingo prize is €400. If it's not won, it rolls over to the next day and there's another €200 added. So say if it's not won on Monday at 400, Tuesday €600 prize, and so on and so forth. You have till 8 o'clock in the evening of that day to claim.
And just generally speaking, how often do the daily prizes roll over?
Well, sometimes it depends. Some weeks we get winners every day, and then other times we're seeing people win €1,000, €1,200, so it depends. But very much so, we're seeing people claim,
and it accumulates. Exactly. So my point being is it's not like it rolls over into eternity and you can't win. People are winning regularly every single week.
Every week.
And then the jackpot on a Thursday.
The jackpot on a Thursday then works similarly to the daily prize in that it starts off at 5,000 and it increases by €200 each week until it's won. So I think at the moment, oh Lord, I think we're at
This is kind of basic information you should have come in with.
I apologise.
What is the jackpot?
I think the jackpot yesterday was 7-8. Was 7-8.
That's good. All right, brilliant.
And it wasn't won. The jackpot was not won yesterday, so we are rolling up to, I believe, 8,000 for next week. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
And like that goes on and on until it's won. So the last jackpot rolled over and over and over for ages, but then previous to that we had 2 winners quite close to one another. So I think the last jackpot winner won over 20 grand, but then we had 2 winners that were quite close to each other that won. I think one won around 6,000 and the other one won around 7,000 or 8,000.
Now the books are available in retail outlets right across the region and on our website at the outlet. Danny, don't want to be too parochial on these things, but people do like to know that the money they contribute benefits their neighbours and friends and what have you, and whether it's ring fenced and definitely goes into the Northwest or not, you can confirm to that. But the money is spent here in the Northwest in Donegal.
It is, because I think we have, as Kevin has said, we have a quite significant shortfall of the money that it costs to run the services that we run here in the Northwest, but obviously nationally, there is a shortfall. So it is crucial. It is an exceptional. I have to say, Greg, it is an exceptional fundraiser, and the generosity and the support of listeners to Highland Radio is really, really quite something. I think something else to say as well, Greg. We last year, I just did the figures doing a report for 2023. We had a 30% increase in people being referred to us. Now, that is unprecedented. Now, we still think it's a sort of It's a catch up from the COVID times,
still,
when a lot of services, there's a lot of catch up there still,
And there was a lot of people then who probably had to go through the pandemic with them as well too. So that's actually really significant, that number, whichever way you look at it. Danny, listen, we'll be chatting again, of course, whenever it is the right time to do so. We take your guidance in relation to that. Thanks so much for explaining the name change, and you know what, in a year it'll all be just the norm. Thanks very much indeed. Take care of yourself. And Kevin, lots of people messaging in. Not with an awful lot of words, but Kevin is great. Kevin is brilliant. Kevin is this, that, and the other. So I don't know what's going on, but a lot of love for you here today, Kevin. As well with Danny, but particularly for you today, Kevin.
I'm sure there's not a negative one in there too, Greg.
Well, I can't find it. Don't worry about that. No. Listen, keep up the great work and continued success, Kevin. And we'll talk to you again too, of course, in the not too distant future.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. And Katie, just recap we found exactly what the public's generosity is doing and the importance of that. And again, a big thank you. People can, and it's not a club. Right, there's not a regular commitment. You can today, if you've got a $5 extra, you can buy a book for next week. Then you don't have to play, or you do play. It's completely up to you. But sometimes I think these things, because that's a Highland bingo. I'm not involved in that. It's open to everyone whenever you want.
Yes, and also it's important to mention that our bingo numbers are read out on air, obviously, like 4 or 5 times a day. But we also have them on our website at highlandradio.com, and they're also available on our dedicated bingo line, which is 074 910 4833. It's the same number you use to log your claims, but the bingo numbers are there as well, so they're available throughout the whole day whenever you want, whenever you can pick them up.
Good stuff. All right, thanks very much, Katie. Really appreciate you calling in and helping us to get the message out there. Thanks again to Kevin Kelly, Danny Cahill, Katie McGee. Back with more after these.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Despite low temperatures and high energy costs, it's important everyone stays warm and well through the colder months. It's also important to understand that saving energy where possible saves money and helps reduce the impact on our climate. Simple steps can make a big difference, like turning down the thermostat by 1 degree, limiting the use of high energy appliances like tumble dryers, or ensuring we don't heat rooms that aren't in use. Government is playing its part too, making a range of supports available to help ease the burden on families across the country. For support and advice, visit gov.ie/reduce your use. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
At iMotors, our brand new Kia 241 range is ready to go for immediate delivery. As Donegal's home for Kia, with 7 years warranty and low finance rates from 1.9% on EV cars and 3.9% on the rest of the range. Check out our stylish and diverse range at imotors.ie. iMotors, your local Kia dealership.
Crawford Tiles and More Castlefin. January sale now on. Big reductions in store on tiles, bathware and wood flooring. Delivery and fitters available. Get that bargain while stocks last. Remember, at Crawford's we've got it covered for you. That's Crawford Tiles and More Castlefin. 91-43942.
When it's time for confirmation, it's time for a trip to Watson Menswear. Choose from the great selection of top label casual and formal wear, blazers, jackets and shirts, also denims, chinos and footwear from big names like Diesel, 1880 Club and Tommy Bow. At Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, and at watsonmenswear.com.
Mary here from the cosmetic department at McGee's Pharmacy to let you know that Clarence have a great skincare gift available this week. Buy 2 Clarence products, 1 to be skincare, and you'll get a choice of 4 treat size essentials from a selection of 8. Which 4 will you choose? This great Clarence offer is available until Saturday the 10th of February or while stocks last in store and online at mcgees.ie. And remember, for any skincare advice, you can always talk to Gemma or myself here at McGee's Chemist on Main Street, Letterkenny, where the best costs less.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with Monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
I saw your Be Good baker running by again the other day, says I to old Mr. Brennan. Ah, yes, says he. I've never seen her stand still. And she's running rings around the rest of us with our Brennan's Be Good bread. Only 60 calories a slice. 60 calories, says I. That's just a whole meal, is it? No, says he, it's the whole meal, the whole grain and the white. 60 calories a slice and high in fibre, whatever way you slice it. That's why anything baked is better with Brennan's. Today's bread today.
Fabric World Maydown Dairy biggest ever winter sale now on trend and in stock curtain and upholstery fabrics all on sale. Over 3,000 metres now half price or less. Free curtain design ready-made curtains up to half price and lining from £1 with fabulous rates on the Euro in store at Fabric World Maydown Dairy.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who aren't able to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Save on calving and lambing essentials at Homeland. Calf stomach tube now $14.99. Save €5. Nutrius calf jackets buy 2 for €50. Moocall calving sensor now €299. Save €30. And save 10% on the FlexiThin Classic waterproof jacket and trousers. All this and much more. Save in store and online at homeland.ie. With nationwide delivery available. Offers available until March 31st.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Mostly dry today with brighter sunny spells and a few showers. Highest temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees and a moderate to fresh and gusty west to southwest winds, strong at times near our coast, the western coast, northern coast not as bad. Rightio. Hard to believe that we're just around the corner now from Highland Radio's Hospitality Awards. We're going to talk a little bit about that now with Sean Quinn, Head of Sales here. Hi, Sean.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Good to have you, and I'm doing fantastic. Okay, again, another huge reaction, a huge involvement from the public in selecting, I suppose, in the first instance, the nominees, and then obviously subsequently then the finalists. There's been a huge public interaction here.
Yeah, it's been massive, Greg. It's hard to believe it. We started this process just before Christmas. Over 13,500 nominations that came in from the public, which was absolutely phenomenal. It blew us away again. Our customer service was huge, and this is just as big. So we're delighted. And the great thing is, there's a great mix of businesses right across the county. And so we've been doing our hard work, our due diligence, and our judges have been involved. And we're at the process now. We're making who's going to win. And all will be revealed on the night on the 11th in Jackson's Hotel. But there's some really interesting categories and some heavyweights up against each other, which would be good.
We look forward to that. Just in relation to tables or seats or what have you, is there any availability for the actual night?
It's very limited. I think we're getting to the stage where we're almost sold out. Okay. The girls are working, Karina and Nanya are working very hard on it. If we've tickets left, we've literally about 10 or 15 left. That's it. Mm-hmm. And we could end up with a waiting list. It's proven very popular for obvious reasons. It's going to be a brilliant night. Everybody coming together. It'll be good crack. Yeah. It'll be high energy. It'll be a brilliant night. So,
well, the last ones were great fun. It has to be said. Now, in terms of the nominees, the shortlist or the nominees, that all came from the public themselves, which was great to see. As you said, the amount of people getting involved in that is huge. And then the judging, of course, then is independent as well. So in other words, we have no influence on the outcome. Also, us being highly... Huh?
Thankfully.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something that questioned that. Oh, God,
Not at all. No.
all right, no, we don't. So talk to us about our external judging panel. Tourism and entertainment sector, sponsored by iHeating and Cooling. Noel Cunningham back on board again.
Yeah.
And who better to cast an eye over tourism and entertainment?
Yeah, and he'll add great value on the night as well, Greg. But his experience of the industry is fantastic. We were delighted he came on board. So at this moment in time, he is busy actually scrutinising the entries and the nominations from that and the shortlist. And we will hopefully, in due course, in the next few days, we'll have the results for that. Martin Harley is in the restaurant sector. Martin's actually, he's within the industry as well. Has been for a long time. Has been in the bar business. So we're delighted to have him on board. And then for the pub and bar sector, we have Kevin Doher. He's AKA the Wild Atlantic Traveller. And finally, the hotel sector is Kieran O'Hanlon. He's the former head of the hospitality at A2U. So there's a great in-depth there of experience. And I'm just delighted it's them that's doing it, and I don't have to be involved.
Yeah, for sure. Now, in terms of the categories, they are very inclusive, and I think this was something as well that was done through the previous awards. The business awards is in that it's a catch-all for all different types of businesses, whether you are a huge hotel venue, or you have a small coffee dock or something that you are, you have an equal chance of getting the recognition that you deserve. Tourism hugely important in this county, not in terms of just revenue, employment, and etc. So let's pick out some of the categories. Tourism and entertainment sector.
Yeah. So we've got the best family venue, and the shortlisted businesses for that are Century Complex, Eclipse Cinemas, and Oakfield Park. I wouldn't like to
have to choose between those three amazing businesses, but let's face it, they have been shortlisted out of a very, very competitive category, so an amazing achievement nonetheless. Tourism Attraction of the Year again. This is a toughie. This is what I could row about, actually, but anyway.
I know, so we've got Slave League Boat Trips, which is fabulous. The Crawley Distillery, which I went round last year, is very, very good. And then, of course, the infamous Fanet Lighthouse. Yep. So that's a toughie also.
Yeah, indeed. Best pint of Guinness. This is an interesting one. Again, I don't drink Guinness, but there could be a row on this one as well. But go on.
I'd say you probably have to go and test these. So you've got Farron's Bar. You'll do a bit of travelling now as well to actually be able to do this. McGuigan's Bar, and then the Cottage in Letterkenny is one. Now I know that I have one boy who frequents that on a regular basis, and he would swear by the Guinness in there.
One other thing too, best bar person of the year too, and I think for me, what makes a pub or what contributes greatly to it is the person behind the jump or the people behind the jump, and it's not just necessarily in terms of efficiency or what have you, it's actually just their personality as well. So I'm really pleased to see those people being recognised. Best fish and chips too in the restaurant sector. Best burger. Again, hugely competitive.
I know, and I would know most of these businesses, and they're all very deserving of it. So in fish and chips, you've got Johnny's Ranch, you've Fry's Rest, and you've Biddy O'Barnes. So they're all very, very good. Everyone's a winner in that section in my eyes.
Best hotel breakfast too. Arnold's Hotel, Clannery Hotel, Harvey's Point Hotel. A wedding venue of the year, another hugely competitive one. The finalists there, Villa Rose, Clannery Hotel, Drumhalla House. So the night is the 11th of February, Jackson's Hotel in Ballybofey. Kicks off with a drinks reception at 6, followed by dinner and the awards ceremony. And as I say, for those of you who didn't go along to the last one but come to this one, it's high-paced, it's fast, it's energetic, it's fun. And there's no foot dragging. It's good crack from beginning to end, and the food and the reception we're going to get at Jackson's, of course, is guaranteed to be great as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna look after us well on the evening. We have a few spot prizes on the evening as well, which I'll keep a bit of a secret. But it'll be, and I suppose I'll be killed if I don't mention this. The dress is dress to impress. It's not black tie. You don't have to wear black tie, but dress to impress on a Sunday evening.
Which of your 2 jackets are you going to wear?
I'm going to put a new one.
Why don't you put the red one on and sing us a song?
I'll sing you a song anyway, Greg.
All right, okay. Excuse me. We are, all jokes aside, genuinely excited for that. I can't wait to see everybody there.
It's
and it is actually going to be, because with the dress to impress, it allows people to wear whatever they want. And the last time, it was like a fashion show between the jigs and the reels.
That was just me and you.
That was just me and you, exactly. Listen, looking forward to it. Thank you very much indeed. And the next information we actually get are the winners on the night, isn't it? There's nothing really between now and then.
That's us now. We're behind the scenes. We're working hard on it. We're as I said, there's very limited tickets left. If you're nominated and you haven't returned your call, you've received a call, please do very quickly because the tickets will be gone. All
right, lovely stuff. Thanks very much, Sean, and fair play to you and the team and all across the station working in one way or other. Appreciate your time. That's Sean Quinn, Head of Sales. Right, we're going to take a break as we head towards the news at 11 o'clock on this Friday's 9 till Noon Show.
The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Leadership is about driving change. That's why we're pleased to introduce the first ever all-electric BMW i5. Seamlessly blending unmistakable BMW driving dynamics with instant electric performance and impressive range, while innovative technology connects to elevate every journey. Discover the joy of moving forward. Reserve your test drive at bmw.ie. Test drive subject to status and availability.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold! And ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Here are last week's road safety figures. Over 3,000. The number of penalty point notices issued. 110. The number of drivers arrested on suspicion of drink or drug driving. And 2. The number of people killed on our roads. Behind these numbers is a story of lost lives, broken families, and devastated communities. If you can improve just one thing about your driving, you can help save lives on our roads. From the Road Safety Authority and An Garda Síochána.
Backstage Bar and Grill is open for breakfast, lunch and dinner 7 days a week. If you're looking for healthy options this January, we have a great selection of delicious salads, sandwiches and more. Call Century Complex on 074 91 21976 to book your table.
Easy Living Furniture's biggest ever winter sale has been extended for a limited time only. This is your last chance to avail of these amazing discounts. Absolutely everything reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. It's the furniture you want at amazing winter sale prices. Winter sale extended for a limited time at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
Experience the virtuoso guitarist Tommy Emmanuel at the Millennium Forum on Thursday, 1st of February for one night only. Tommy's music brings joy to the soul. Don't miss the chance to experience the magic of Tommy Emmanuel live on stage. A must for all music fans. Book now at millenniumforum.co.uk.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock. It's time for a news update, and it's good morning, Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. An agreement has been reached on new public sector pay deals. It provides a pay increase of just over 10% to 2.5 years. Negotiations continued overnight after government and union representatives failed to reach an agreement in meetings earlier this month. Donegal County Council is carrying out a safety assessment in the vicinity of Glanrua and Killylaston Heights estates off the Windy Hall Road on the outskirts of Letterkenny. It follows calls for speed ramps in the area from a number of councillors. Officials say if safety measures are required, they will seek funding to implement them. A proposal to suspend the signing of new contracts with hotels to accommodate Ukrainians fleeing war is being considered by the government. Over 100,000 people from Ukraine have arrived in Ireland since Russian tanks crossed the border on February 24th, 2022. A 63-year-old man is to appear before Strabane Magistrates Court next month following an arrest in the Ballycolman area yesterday. The charges include being concerned with the supply of Class B drugs, possession of Class B controlled drugs and possession of a Class B controlled drug with intent to supply. Ishka Aaron says customers may experience supply interruptions around Greencastle, with areas affected including Upper Drumaweir and Crook Elms. A traffic management plan will be in place for the duration of the works, which are scheduled to take place until 2 o'clock this afternoon. And finally, 2 government-commissioned reports into RTE are expected by the end of February. The media minister says the current board should stay in place for now, despite what she described as governance and financial failures around Toy Show the musical. 5 members of the current RTE board were in place at the time of the €2.2 million flop. That's all for now. Back again at 12 o'clock.
Thank you very much indeed, Don Marie. OK, that's entertainment is just around the corner. We chill out for the next hour and just chat about things to entertain ourselves. General chit-chat as well. But it just ease off the pedal of more serious stuff. OK, so stick around for that, please.
Here are last week's road safety figures. Over 3,000. The number of penalty point notices issued. 110. The number of drivers arrested on suspicion of drink or drug driving, and 2, the number of people killed on our roads. Behind these numbers is a story of lost lives, broken families, and devastated communities. If you can improve just one thing about your driving, you can help save lives on our roads. From the Road Safety Authority and An Garda Síochána.
Okay, indeed, it is. That's entertainment, and hopefully you'll stick around with us for the next hour. We want your views and commentary on stuff you're watching, stuff you're listening to, reading, watching on stage, big screen, small screen, whatever. We're in the company this week of a man who finished third in the 2018 Letterkenny Michael Leddy lookalike competition. It is Michael Leddy. Hi.
Hello, Greg.
Good to have you with us.
It's great to be here.
And also by Dahi Ramsey, manager of On Green on Theatre Letterkenny. Interesting fact, massive pigeon fancier. Good morning, Dahi.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
Racing pigeons, tumblers, you have them all.
Where did you find that out? You kind of, yeah.
Trying to bring
it's spooky, like.
You've been trying to bring a little bit of...
you've been hacking my phone messages.
I have indeed.
It was the real you, the real Dahi.
Yeah, so exactly. We might dig into that a little bit later in the show. I don't think we will, however. Dahi, thank you very much for sitting in. Good morning to you. How are you keeping?
I'm very well. Very well. Couldn't be better.
All going well at the theatre?
Yeah, we've been very busy. Panto week, obviously. And Trad Week's going on as well. So so very busy, very good. Great to see everyone back.
Good audience participation. Lots of people out and about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everyone's back. It's great. It's great to see it, yeah.
Good stuff. It's great to have that facility on our doorstep. More your doorstep than mine, but be that as it may. Michael,
yes.
True Detective is back. This is going to, well, so many people are talking about it, and I'm probably not going to watch it for a year or two.
Yes.
But you have watched how many episodes now?
I've watched one of the 2 episodes.
And you hadn't last week?
I had not last week.
Okay, so what's your views?
I was really looking forward to this because I was a huge fan of season 1, the Matthew McConaughey, Woody Harrelson season from 2014. Hard to believe it's 10 years, but it's 10 years since that first season. And this has been a troubled franchise for various reasons. Season 2 failed to catch fire with viewers and critics.
Yeah.
And there were creative changes behind the scenes. The original person behind the show is no longer involved, although that person did have ideas for season 4, but then I was reading up on it this morning and disappeared off and got a contract with Fox or FX to do a completely different thing. So this is a fresh start, and Jodie Foster is the big deal about season 4 because a very big movie star from a few decades past. A long career. I remember her watching her in a 1970s half-hour comedy drama called Paper Moon. With Christopher Connolly. She took over from Tatum O'Neill, and Christopher Connolly took over from Ryan O'Neill, and it was a series about a con man driving around the old South in the 1930s with this adorable waif, orphan waif, and that was Jodie Foster. And then she went on to do movies or whatever. So this is the big thing about, you know, having her in a TV series and bringing her in for these 6 episodes, the shorter season this year.
I think the days when sort of a actor doing something like this, it being seen as a backward step are over now.
Oh yeah, big time, absolutely. Yeah, even like take Matthew McConaughey as a perfect example. I mean, that was somebody who definitely was it was a kick for his career in the right direction. I mean, he said that himself. It was a big thing. So I was very excited for this. And the story gets us up and running straight away. We are in Alaska, and we're in that time of the year, Fernanda mentioned this last week, where it's dark for like months on end. The sun does not rise. And some scientists in a research facility vanish into the night. And Jodie Foster is one of the detectives on the case. And
so what's her baggage?
Her baggage is that she's raising a teenager or late teens girl who is not her biological daughter, from what I could figure out from the first episode. And there's a
on her own.
Yeah, on her own.
On her own. Yeah,
and
she's been a hotshot detective, and she's been kind of
yes.
She's in this backwater.
Yes, she's kind of been shoved to this place, like in the far north, because there is a town quite near. Well, not quite near, but you know, within a radius of the research facility. And there's a cold case that is going to bear relevance to the main
I think
case.
in the trailer, I've seen something like this before. I presume that's a reference to it, is it?
Yes, There's they find, I won't say too much, but they find something at the crime scene that makes one person think, oh, this is like that case 5 years ago. So there's a thing going on there. So I was very excited about this, and I have to say, and the critics have embraced it big time. I mean, checking my notes here, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's almost universal acclaim. 67% from audiences. And I did not enjoy the first episode at all.
Why?
Because the storytelling for me was quite lazy. They had a great hook.
But they're trying to drag it over
6 episodes, I agree. The hook at the start pulled me in, and then they stopped talking about the missing scientists. They were like, well, can you believe that happened? Anyway, let's get back to traffic detail. And that bugged the hell out of me. And I had other issues with regard to the detective, and this one now is probably going to be quite controversial, but this is my take on it. She arrives at the crime scene, and there's like, in order to make her seem super smart, they've written the other lead male detective as being a doofus, which is something you see on everything. Matlock
fine in Scream, but maybe not in
he's like well, I don't think anything's wrong here. They probably just all stepped out.
Are you sure that's not reflective of the police force in
Alaska?
Alaska.
Oh, mate, you're getting controversial now. You'll be getting in the text messages from Alaska. Everybody, people listen.
I'll take my chance.
But her skill set, and this is what really bugged me about it early on, she looks around and she looks at a sandwich and she says, no, that mayonnaise on that sandwich, that's been like that for 48 hours. And then she walks around and she's like, oh, that washing's been left in that washing machine for at least 48 hours, could start to stink. So her skill set coming into the crime scene are, she's a housewife, she's a mother, she's a woman. It's like she can only solve this case because
I see now where you're going with that.
She can make sandwiches and she can do washing.
You see,
and she
are you sure you're not too edgy? Go ahead, Dahi. Come on, you can
I just say,
as well.
I've watched 2 episodes.
Okay.
I'm really liking it. So opposite there, and I think they set the character up. That's what they do in a first episode. So she's a mother, but she's a crack detective. That's where I'm seeing that, you know, and they're just establishing the character.
What about
I'm really liking it. I have to say.
Like just the easiest way to describe the gender roles, like dumb fella, woman can use housewife background to solve crime. I'm not paraphrasing you, okay, but let's just say that's it. Do you recognise that?
Yeah, a bit. But I mean, you know, are there any new stories to be told? Or are there any new setups?
Here's
you know
a
what
question.
I mean? Kind of, it's how well you do it.
Yeah.
But there's also in this, there's a Native American or First Nations element going on, because obviously we're in Alaska. There's, you know, original
the original people there,
are there. So there's that, and there's a bit of a supernatural suggestion.
Yeah, that was mentioned last week.
Yeah, whether that continues or not, I don't know.
That bugged me too. Come on, it was so unsubtle. Like, I mean, there was full-on ghosts walking around. No? That was
yeah, but where does that end up? Do you know what I mean? Where are they going with it? Yeah. I think until
you see, I think to some extent, Michael, and you're perfectly equipped to correct me if I'm wrong, is that you kind of went into this expecting something and it's not fitting into kind of what you hoped it might be.
Yeah, I wanted a
rather
procedural.
than watching this completely fresh and sort of it, going, right, actually, this is something a little bit. Do you think maybe you went in there hoping for just a procedural cop show that was cool and
I wanted a
dark
procedural cop show. And one of the critics who raved about it, I want to ask this today, one of the critics I read this morning who raved about it said, it's Lynchian. It's like David Lynch made this. I don't like David Lynch or Twin Peaks. But Dahi, do you think there's a David Lynch thing in this?
I'm a massive David Lynch fan.
See, now we're getting down to the critical points here.
I don't need everything wrapped up. I don't need everything.
I do.
You know, I like things left to the imagination. I like your own interpretation being there. I'm not sure it is that Lynchian. I get what they're saying, I guess, that they're sort of hanging this supernatural possibility out there.
That would need to be a no-go. That would I'd steer away from that. I would prefer it to be more.
But it might not be that.
Yeah, I know.
I think with the it's interesting with the First Nations. They like to do that because Dark Winds is a great detective
Dying to
series.
start that.
Set on a reservation that I watched in 2 seasons. I'd highly recommend it. And they do sort of, because of the religion and the spirituality of the First Nations people in America, they do like to leave those things sort of in there as possibilities, as ideas, you know.
That makes a lot of sense. I get that. I do. I actually
that stuff. But to a global audience, maybe people might feel that they're being fed that when they're not interested in it, but there's boxes to be ticked.
But maybe it comes back.
But
it's not.
But you see, when I see audience scores versus critic scores, the critics get that and think about that, and appreciate it and want it. But what the audience want is what the audience want, and I think that's often why we see this discrepancy between. But anyway, so far out of 10 for you, Dahi, or anything else you want to add to it? Sorry, because you've watched 2 episodes.
I'm probably giving it an 8 at the moment.
Okay, that's very positive.
So far,
I think you need to wait and see the second episode.
4 or 5 at the moment, and I'll be honest, there's so many other things I may not get to episode 2. I'll think long and hard about it, but
so much other stuff. I get you, and that's honest too. I watched at the start of the week American Nightmare on Netflix. It's a documentary, and I like documentaries when they're done very well, and this one is done very well. I would recommend people watch it. It's a really interesting story.
What's it about?
It is about what I would say to anyone who is watching American Nightmare is don't even read the 2 lines that Netflix have put up about it.
I know.
Because if you watch it without that, it's in 3 parts and it all makes sense. It's like, wow, okay. You know what I mean? Now, if you do read that and watch it, you'll still enjoy it. But it's just the way it's designed not to have those 2 lines describing it, because there's reveals at the end of each episode. Okay, but anyway. There's a home invasion in America in 2015 or something like that there. The fella's in the house. He says, I was tied up, my girlfriend was kidnapped, and they want a ransom, and I had to follow these instructions. But from the get-go, it's very clear that the police think he's just making all of this up.
Okay. That does sound intriguing.
And it's around about the time Gone Girl was released as well. So the media jump on this, and I don't want to say any more about it, but it's in 3 parts.
That's intriguing.
It's very easy to consume. There's great access to the characters involved, and there's people might be put off by the tranche of documentaries that are just talking heads, cheapest documentaries you could ever make. But this one is really, really quite good. It's got access to all the key players, interview footage, police cam footage, that kind of stuff. So American Nightmare. If any of you watch that, everyone out there watch that, let us know what you think. 08660 25,000. Hi Greg, my favourite show on Sunday is back, Trigger Point. I think I watched the first episode of that. I thought it was okay.
No, I've not seen it.
Could you please... I just want to say this. Hi, Greg. Just want to say good luck to Donegal on Sunday. Hope we see great Donegal support. Get behind Jim and the boys. Love seeing the flags from supporters. Yes, indeed. And in terms of who will turn up, I'd say there'll be a big crowd because they'd 5,000 odd for the McKenna Cup. It is a big game. It's Cork. It's Division 2. And it's live here on Highland Radio as well. I believe it's 1:45 throw-in. I'm doing that off the top of my head, though. Right, we're in the company of Dahi Ramsey, manager of On Green on Theatre Letterkenny, Michael Leddy, writer and blogger. Mick mixed views on True Detective. What are you watching out there? What do you want us to talk about? 086 60 25,000. Back with more from the guys after these.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Up Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
Farmer Exodus in the West. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Find out how many farmers are leaving the sector each year. See how your factory ranks in our exclusive Beef Price League. €65 million paid in turf cutting compensation. Over 100,000 fewer straw bales this year. Rising cost of sending BVD tissue tags. New schemes to pay farmers for biodiversity. Plus, all you need to know about land tax reliefs.
All inside the Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
If you're getting married, the in-house design team at BizPrint can get all your wedding stationery and signage needs customised to your requirements. Just visit weddinginvites.ie or call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 9177 955.
Muff, Lousy Bush, Strangle Willie, Legwee Fottrin, Duty's Bottom, Stripsy, Willie Rogue Island, Pullingtown, Terman Feckin, Killy Willie. Gowl. Over the years, not all our town names have translated beautifully from Irish to English, but they're still beautiful places to explore, especially in a Skoda. Skoda. Let's explore.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Call 074 9721 396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time's 11:18. G'day, Greg, and TV Trees says, did you know today's Australia Day? No, I didn't. Looks like a case of no can do. Was Margot and Greta thrown on the Barbie? If you catch my drift. Fair dinkum. Totally Betty Starr got one. That reminds me of So Poor Things. It's a wonderful, wacky, Irish-directed film that deserves the nominations, especially the always enthusiastic Emma Stone. But Greg, didn't you say once the litmus test would be, would Fionnuala take her granny to see it? But no fears on the holdovers, as it was a fantastic watch, no doubt will be a festive fave, considering it snowed days after watching it. Kevin in Dunlow. Thanks, Kevin. Pun Central, appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed, Kevin.
That was brilliant.
Indeed,
I enjoyed much better than that.
All right, Aideen Doherty's manager of Donegal Film Office and joins us on the programme now. Hi, Aideen.
Hi, Greg.
It's a bumper year, 2024, isn't it, for films with a Donegal connection coming to the big screen in this year. And this is the culmination, obviously, of years of work behind the scenes, getting them here, getting them shot, getting them filled and getting them ready for release. But great for Donegal.
Yeah, it's incredible. We've had a really good year last year with almost 9.2 million of an investment into the county and local spend. And when you add them all, it brings us into a whole other level. So we've been delighted with the activity and what's been going on. And hopefully we'll see all of them, being screened this year across various different platforms. And thankfully 24 is kicking off well again.
And it is amazing success, not least down to your office. But do you think we need to build on this now in a more sort of coordinated way? And I'm sure everything is done really professionally, don't get me wrong, and it's all there. But is it in a way that it is more attractive or more accessible for people thinking of shooting in this part of the world?
I think that what has been happening, I suppose, is that we've kind of been almost sitting in a space where things have been coming to us and we haven't been chasing work down. And in recent times, The ecosystem within the county is growing and developing all the time, and people are returning to the county and saying, we should need to be doing for ourselves, not least in the development of Errigal Studios with the team that are behind the Buffet, and they're pushing into that space, and thankfully that's moving forward at pace. And I suppose really what the intention behind that is that that's exactly what we do, is that we are in a space where we're able to attract a different type of product, the same types of products, and that we're also able to expand the offering into things like commercials and TV dramas and documentaries that we probably, and in the XR field, that we probably haven't been doing to the extent that we could be. And it's creating that cluster, creating an idea that you would have the opportunity to build something meaningful in this county, and that you'll be able to retain talent, that you'll be able to develop that talent, and that you'll also be able to create jobs. And Greg, the jobs that are in this space are generally paid about 27% higher income than the average in Ireland. So they're high-end jobs, they're really good quality jobs, and then in turn that, is extended into the local economy where people are living here and being able to spend their money here.
Yeah, because we can demonstrate that we can demonstrate, I suppose, individually that we have it all. We have the extras when they come up here. We've got the equipment that's required. We've got the accommodation. Clearly, obviously, we've got the scenery. We've got the supports in there, and it's just, I suppose, having that in so that it's marketable in that. I mean, it's all there. It's just a case of making sure we maximise the market for it.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And I think that it's also about retaining the capability that's in the region. I mean, an awful lot, because it's sporadic and the work is sporadic to a greater or lesser extent, and we're dependent on servicing the industry at the moment. And that's really, it's a bit like servicing a car. We're not building the cars. So we want to build it from the centre out, if that makes sense. And, really, we've been very lucky because the likes of The Cry from the Sea or Four Letters of Love, when you have the likes of, some of the talent that has been around that, you have Piers Brosnan putting up at the end of the year last year his best year photographs, and that includes one of Donegal, him standing on a beautiful beach in Donegal and remembering the great time that he had there. That film tourism piece is hugely important. Dominic Cooper doing a piece for us on Love Donegal Day where he said Escral Donegal Ascaliga. Those kind of things you can't sell, and that just goes round the world as being incredible from a Donegal perspective.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
we know the value of it from that point of view. And you're right, we have everything there that's needed, but we do need to build that and retain that talent then that is here. We want to be able to say to people, if you're coming back to Donegal, you can stay here and we legitimately can provide you with enough work to keep you sustained.
Yeah,
and that's really what we want to try and do.
So
and alongside that, I suppose, is then...
Yeah, go ahead, Adine. Alongside that, what?
No, just building the talent then and allowing young people to have made the decision that they're going to take a chance on this, is that then they are, as I say, they're learning the skills, they're getting the opportunity to do the training in their own county, and they're getting the opportunity then to work and develop that skill set within the county.
So some of the films, Cry from the Sea, the 5 films that are coming out, Cry from the Sea, who's involved in that?
So Cry from the Sea is Sarah Gaden, Sarah Bulger, Aidan Quinn and Dominic Cooper. Dominic Cooper is of ABBA fame. And Aidan Quinn would have been here before and would have been in, the previous film was made here by the same company, A Shine of Rainbows, which really did catapult Donegal into a different space, I suppose, from this perspective. And then in Four Letters of Love is Helena Bonham Carter, Piers Brosnan and Gabriel Byrne. And again, they're huge films from our perspective. And then we had Fiddle Gorham, which is a lovely film that was made here locally, Ascaliga, and that's Barry McGovern, Siobhan O'Kelly. And Saoirse Ulk then is currently being shot in Gweedore. And delighted that we have our own line producer on that film, Eileen Rafferty. It's amazing that we have somebody now in the county that's in a head of department situation. And we also have a huge amount of local talent. There's a wonderful fellow there called Eric Sweeney, who's the locations manager. And Eric trained on other films that were in the county under a fellow called Gordon Wycherley, who's one of the top locations managers in Ireland. And now he's able to step up into that space and develop that skill set within his own county. And
right.
Those types of things you can't buy that.
And Adine, finally, I think I've probably got more chance of getting your bank account details than any firm details on what's coming up, because you have to be so secretive. But the conveyor belt, if I could put it like that there, are we seeing, some consistency in inquiries on new projects and what have you?
I think that one of the things that will happen this year, certainly we have a lot of people, as I always say, sniffing about. There's a couple of things that we're excited about. And as I've said to you many times before, Greg, that's only happening when we're, standing in line for the breakfast in the morning, until the trucks are concern down the road. It's not happening, and it really can be sometimes as down to the wire as that. I think that the piece that will help determine the success of projects continuing to be made in the region is Section 481 and the regional lift and the regional investment. And I think that the regions have been pumping above their weight, and it's delightful to see Desiree, who's the Chief Executive of Screen Ireland, acknowledging that and acknowledging the importance of the regions. And look, I think that's where we want to position ourselves as a player in that space, is building the talent, is building the skill, and being able to compete to the best of them.
All right, Aideen, thank you so much indeed. Aideen Doherty, manager of the Donegal Film Office. It's really interesting, isn't it, Dahi, to sort of hear of the amount of money coming in, the multiplier on that money, the films that are coming through. It's kind of like, for a lot of us, it's kind of like a hidden industry up here. We hear of road closures here and there and stuff, but you know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
It's really quite
and I mean,
astonishing.
I know where I live near me, in Rathmullen, they did one of those films, one of the Irish language films, and a friend was telling me he ended up doing the catering on it. So, the economy was getting all that, and he was like, it's great because it's a quiet time of year, So it's all those kind of hidden things, isn't it? I must say, I've been so impressed with Aideen and what she's done with the Film Office on limited time and resources. And I think it would be fantastic if, there was more resources and time given to that.
And
I
most
think
of
it
the
could
time
really...
you can't really scream the success from the hilltops until after the facts. Because obviously there's, so many...
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of attraction in Donegal, I mean, it's interesting that a lot of... Like, the filming is in Letterkenny. They're not coming to Donegal in a sense for modern Ireland, are they? It's that attraction of we're setting something a little bit back, so we go out into the regions and things are less...
Yeah, and that was seen in the Liam Neeson film. Donegal looked lovely, and Donegal's actually nice that it looked in the film, even though it looked lovely. But I did laugh at people going that people questioning the geographical accuracy of it all. That local knowledge. It was great. Walking in one village and going into a pub that's in another village and stuff.
That happens.
But that's the excitement of having the local knowledge.
Exactly.
I have to say as well. I mean, Aideen mentioned the Bothy there, which is the film facility, the editing facility. And during the lockdown, when we were doing shows online, we all had to skill up very quickly for that. So David from the Bothy actually did an online tutorial on video editing for us. So in that way, those skills are there and they're being used for films. But also it filters down.
And I think too, it's about the talent. There's a lot of London-based talent and all that have to be over there or wherever they might be to make a living. And the idea being that we could sustain them here. Could you please read out your show? The Rotary service rescheduled due to adverse weather conditions last weekend. The Letterkenny Rotary Club church service for the dedication of ribbons from their Christmas tree of remembrance was cancelled. Well, it'll now take place. This is the important information. It's now going to take place in Conwall Parish Church, Letterkenny, on Sunday the 28th of January. It's at 7 p.m. The service is for clergy and parishioners from all churches. Please join us to remember our loved ones, and everyone's welcome to stay for some refreshments after the service. Also, I've been asked to mention that Colonel Class Gael Ardra presents A Fish Out of Water. It's a 3-act comedy by Jimmy Keary. It's in the GEA Clubhouse Ardra. It's on Friday the 26th, that's tonight, Saturday the 27th, Sunday the 28th, January 2024. It's nightly at 8 p.m. Doors open at 7:30 p.m. Tickets just €12. There's a raffle on the night. And as I say, I've said to you this before, and I hope it doesn't sound patronising, Michael, but these... some of these productions, all of them I've seen are brilliant. The amount of effort and...
I mean...
I'm not asking you to comment on that actual show.
No, but you're absolutely right. No, I mean...
the staging of them.
This is something I've said before and others have said it. Like, the term amateur doesn't refer to the quality of the piece. It refers to the fact that these people are giving of their time freely. The amount of talent we have in this part of the world is extraordinary.
Absolutely.
I mean, the amount... I completely agree.
I mean, it'd be really unfair to call Dahi an amateur critique, but... fundamentally
that
it's
is
true.
it,
But it does you a disservice, Dahi.
I've no problem with the word. Amateur means love, doesn't it?
It does.
That's the root of the word. It means love. It's passion. It's a passion piece, isn't it?
From Kieran Kelly's script that we did, Dramaters, that was part of the script. So now I know that. I know that. But absolutely, I've seen so many shows that are not professional, doing air quotes here for the radio, and that they're every bit as good in many cases.
That is one of the things we identified in the theatre early on. Patricia McBride, our director, who obviously comes from a great graph for drama herself, that the talent was all here. Where we've been able to help people is on the production side of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Niall, our technical manager, has done huge support with all the groups on lighting, because he's a lighting specialist. So bringing up the understanding and knowledge of that, set design, that's where we've been able to help. And help bring up the standard. But in terms of acting and directing, I think Donegal's so well served, and that's something people would say all around the country.
But I do think, particularly across the arts, in terms of
musicians, singers,
and even in sport. I mean, you can extend it out, and I don't want to sort of sound like we're blowing our own trumpet, but when you think of what we are in terms of population size, where we are, because we always talk about access and opportunities and stuff, but we've got leading people right across the world of sport. Musically, I mean, the musical talent, there's so many artists in Donegal that the only thing that's missing is a bit of luck.
Yeah.
Because everything else is there. I mean, there's amazing singer-songwriters that are as good as they just didn't get the whatever it takes to get that. In terms of acting and in terms
the
of
viral these days.
The
viral video, isn't it?
It's hard to put it into place.
Yeah.
And that can work in that can work for you, and then even that sometimes is not. I'm thinking of Ellie Sherlock, who's huge. She was signed up to. She was signed up to, and she's still doing really well. But she was signed up to Ed Sheeran's record label, and they even did some cross promotion with it, and she's doing well. But even for her, it didn't kick her over that line. She's still busking in Dublin and doing her thing that way. But.
Well, you see, I mean, the example I always give is Tanya McCole, who's an amazing singer.
Yeah.
And Tanya, you could see in the Beehive in Ardra. You could see her on Monday nights with the late great Ted Ponsonby and that. And here obviously. Sorry, in McGinley.
There's only one thing happens on a Monday night.
Sorry, in McGinley's for years it was Ted and Tanya.
Exactly.
And then John Prine heard her and went, "Well, you're amazing. Come on tour with me." And he recognised, But like, if I go to and I have done go to on holiday to England, and you go in a pub and there's a guy in the corner, you're like, that's a bit duff, isn't it? It tends to be the response. You go to Donegal, you can see Tanya, you can see Declan McClafferty, you can see Tommy Calhoun, Rory Friel, without Willow, Karen Kelly and Simon McCafferty. Like, you can see incredible artists in a pub. They are
innovating, writing, the whole. I know exactly the point that you're making in terms of the guy in the corner. And it's not to do him. It's not to put them down. But it's just as a bar to elevate. It really
it's incredible. But I see it in soccer too. I mean, if you look at, like, I'm a Finn Harps fan, but Finn Harps, Derry City have loads of Donegal lads. Loughgall have loads of the northern teams. Institute have loads of Donegal lads, and you're like, is Derry City not a big population centre? Why is everyone coming from Donegal populating all the northwest clubs?
I think
it's just that we have
I think what we do have in this county as well, and this is going off on a tangent a little bit, but in terms of from a school level, in terms of acting, we've got amazing teachers that work with the students in music, the musical teachers, and a lot of the brilliant musical artists we have are actually also teaching as well. In terms of athletics, we have our the Patsy McGonigal, and we have Eamon Harvey down the south, and there's others right across. There are fantastic people, I think, developing. I think developing that talent.
I think
from a very young age.
I think we punch above our weight, and a lot of it is, like, we're talking about the amateur, professional, whatever. It's the gra, isn't it? It's the love for people. People are doing it because it's their passion, and then once in a while we see the Amy Beth McNulty in acting go straight through. We're seeing Warren Bradley do it now. And everybody's so proud. Everybody feels that ownership of these people, and it's lovely.
But there was however it happened, and I'm so happy with the Maureen Bradley thing. Is a call was made or something was seen or whatever, and that initial call for the Jules Holland gig was on. I'm not saying everything that is following would not have happened without that, but that's I think a perfect example of just that thing
that happens.
I think that's a zeitgeist thing. I think it is right place, right time. We're coming out of the pandemic. Everybody's looking for a bit of authenticity. Everybody's looking, and there's Muireann. It's an acoustic guitar. She has the voice. Her playing skills are incredible, and everybody's like, instead of something manufactured, instead of something presented to us, we're so we see so much of that now. And here was just something incredibly natural.
As well as that, it is actually kind of interesting that the music she plays has been embraced because
Oh, yeah,
it
yeah,
is
yeah.
really
Yeah.
quite, different. I mean, it's of its time.
Yes,
and it's coming back in, but it's the audience is obviously.
Well, it's 100 years. I mean, it's not.
But the audience is obviously.
Hungry for it, or they're looking for
Open to it. I don't know what it is. Yeah, exactly. Maybe we've saturated with the other stuff so much. That
But again, if you're living I think if you're living here in a place, country's always been huge here. And it's all about the human experience, and the blues is about the human experience.
But then the thing of everything old is new again. It's that things are cyclical, things come back, and to a particular audience, it might be, oh, this is so fresh to me because they don't have the context of it. So that can explain a lot of things.
But again, authenticity, I think, is a real thing there. She's really doing it. It's not a, pastiche or whatever. She's just doing
the
it.
real thing.
But I do think that human experience, the blues, country, will always have that.
I'm very interested to see what's go ahead.
If she was a rich kid, you look at what was the film recently, the Saltburn. The rich people. If she was coming from a very rich background, I don't think people would have taken to her in that way.
Yeah, and also I think the greatest successes we see now is when it is organic to some extent. Now, I say organic. Obviously, you need the right phone call, but that it's something to be discovered. Something. Wow, look what and then people get ownership, and that helps, and all that kind of stuff as well. Interesting, just like you talked about country being big and the country scene. I'm really fascinated to see where that goes next, or what comes behind that. Do you know, we had the show bands, and then country comes behind that, and I'm really interested to see from a musical for the masses what actually is going to come behind country. I'm not saying it's a sunset genre, right? But if you look at where the big guys can gig and the numbers they can gig to. I'm really fascinated to see what comes behind that.
It's already happening. It's folk. It's vocal folk. We see it with Honour, for example. Obviously, the High Kings were out there before them. It is folk. You take someone like Derek Ryan. He put 2 folk songs on his last album, and he's clued in. Derek Ryan.
The Whistling Donkeys, I suppose. I know
going.
It's not folk, but you can throw them into the next generation.
But it is that kind of experience, and we saw that in England. I remember 10-15 years ago seeing the Unthanks and people like that from England and saying, where's the Irish version of this? Why are we not revisiting our folk experience? And again, it's about authenticity. Lancome obviously are massive, and I mean, we've tried Weekon. You'll have Scullion, who are obviously on Sunday night in the RCC, and we're who were pioneers of that, and there's a resurgence of interest in Scullion. There's a resurgence of interest in Planxty.
And also we have a very...
So that's where I think the numbers are going.
And I think the success often comes to, Michael, when it's multi-generational. Do you know what I mean? Because if you go to an Honour concert, you will see teens or whatever.
Crossover,
if you go to Whistling Donkeys, they've got... Now, I'm not grouping Whistling Donkeys in Honour, but we need a group of acts in different genres that are coming through to fill the pubs and clubs.
They're probably the middle point towards the Merry Wallopers between those two, probably, who we saw on Jules, and they're a good time band, taking that Pogues kind of mantle, I guess, in some ways, But I mean, if you think of someone like the Dubliners, they could do the ballads, but they could do the thing the Merry Wallopers.
And I'd mentioned too, obviously, for the C-Session... the Seeger Sessions thingamajiggy.
Yes, great band. Great band.
Again,
really good.
Filling places around. Is this where we're going? I'm not saying they weren't always there, these type of stuff, but
I think the roots folk area.
We are inevitably going to go through some sort of a transition.
Oh yeah, of course, and people will embrace. Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. The idea that there'll always be an audience for all different genres, but then some things get embraced by a much larger audience. This zeitgeist thing happens where people embrace it. And I suppose, that from what you're saying, the time is ripe and the tide is turning.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, and maybe somebody out there tell me, but how many people have Honour played to in the last year? I mean, it's serious numbers, and they went straight up. Again, the viral moment.
Yeah. Exactly.
But again, it was just voices, wasn't
it? But also, there's levels.
Yeah.
And they're at a level. But then again, listen, I think there's great things. I think there's great things happening. I think there is a bit of a shift. I'm not saying anything's dying a death. Don't get me wrong. But I think sometimes you wonder, well, what's next? Which was the basis of my question. And I think we're starting to see what's next.
Yeah. And I think that's
Chasing
the thing.
Abbey,
if something goes in... Oh, yeah, Chasing Abbey.
I know it's in
who are in
different
Letterkenny
genres.
this week, aren't they?
They're massive.
In Sonny McSwine's, I think, this week in Letterkenny. But if something comes into fashion, it has to drop a bit. You know, skinny jeans. You know, jeans are going back out again. Things have to go.
I've seen some big baggy jeans lately.
I know.
Massive.
Do you know what? I had them in the early 90s.
I took mine out last year. I had them.
Oh, you get good money for them now. But if you remember, they hang over your shoes and they soak up water.
Yep.
They weigh.
That's part of the look. That's
they
all
weigh
right.
about 4 ton. You wonder why young people are walking around with their head down. They can't actually physically lift it because of the weight. You know, it's quite something.
High waistbands, yeah. Baggy jeans. Anyway, I don't know. As I said, we can talk about anything on this show, from style advice from Dahi.
Yeah, fashion.
Always there.
If we're moving into fashion, it's time for me to go and get a glass of water. I'll let you chat about fashion.
I think the people watching on the camera will be impressed.
Your Colombo jacket will eventually come back into fashion. All right, back after these.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Because we're getting older, they feel we shouldn't have rights. So stand up and be counted, look after the older people. And this country would flourish if they did, because our expectations, our enthusiasm, our knowledge, our experience, what we've gone through can all be so reflected on young people and make them feel stronger.
Learn more about ageism in Ireland at ihrec.ie from the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission. We're all human. We're all equal.
Harkins have been providing customers with quality fireplaces, stoves and electric fires for over 30 years. And now you can experience the elegance of luxurious worktop from Harkins. Their experienced craftsmen can fabricate marble, quartz or granite worktops to your specification. So, if you're planning a new kitchen or bathroom or upgrading your existing one, Harkin Fireplaces can provide a quote for your quartz, marble or granite worktop. Visit their showroom in Ballybogan, Lifford or call 9141109 or visit them online at harkinfireplaces.ie.
Homeowners, it's time to unlock incredible savings on your energy bills. Efficient Renewables is here to reduce your energy consumption, say goodbye to skyrocketing costs and hello to renewable energy solutions. With no VAT on solar panels and the generous grants for both solar panels and heat pumps, see these innovative systems in action in our state-of-the-art showroom in Newton Cunningham today. Contact Efficient Renewables on 074 97 08320.
For the best breakfast in town, take a seat at Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny. Try the renowned Early Bird Special or the Full Irish, or go all the way with the ultimate monster trucker. There's also healthy options like Kelly's Protein Breakfast or turkey and scrambled eggs. For breakfast, lunch, dinner or something in between, pull into Kelly's award-winning diner at Mountaintop Letterkenny, with confirmation and First Communion catering also available.
If you're having trouble paying your energy bills, keep listening. But more importantly, keep talking. Because your energy supplier won't disconnect you as long as you engage with them. If you're facing difficulty paying your energy bills, suppliers have to offer you repayment options. Talk to your supplier or find out more at cru.ie. Here to shed light on your energy rights. Brought to you by the Commission for Regulation of Utilities.
The menopause is a very inclusive condition. You don't have to get it to suffer from it.
Ankle D's hilarious show, How to Get the Menopause and Enjoy It, comes to On Green on Letterkenny, February the 2nd, and Bala Art Centre Ballybuffet, February 17th.
I phoned up my mammy and I went, I'm thinking of HRT. And she said, what's wrong with the bank you're with?
For full details, go to angledee.com.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterable. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Don't miss Nathan Carter live at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny, this Sunday 28th. Doors open at 7:15 with support from David James from 8. Tickets priced €30. Available from hotel reception on Eventbrite or pay at the door. That's Nathan Carter live at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny, this Sunday.
Dear Hood, shut Emily.
But what love my Hervey's already done at Agro?
Fiber be. Cad the Hiola.
A Lana Direct Teresh Sparky Hartig, Temple Kuik Mila Sheets on Lanashin.
Kinta.
O Anner Fefe Car, beg gach teilig an air in a dead Shervish already done. Kibay out to Williconier, this fed at the Hervishia Agro to Hangawali in of the Valahor draw Vila Raha. Like Till Olish, Tor Quarter My Ways Punkai. Marnie Bach an Achor Soil and Ear Gultocht. Arna Herfoil the Dig Realtus na Heron.
Mr. Blue Sky. Saturday's Lotto jackpot is an estimated €14.8 million. So, what's the first thing you'd do with €14.8 million? That is genius. Better get a ticket soon. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
Make more meals for less with Dunnes Stores, where you'll save in the aisle with ingredients for delicious overnight oats. That's porridge oats, 1.5 kilo, just €1.19. With skimmed milk, just €1.05. And freshly frozen mixed berries, only €2. All from the Dunnes Stores range. Make 4 servings for just €1.06 each. Download the app now and get a 5 off 25 welcome voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used to next grocery shop of €25 or more.
Are you building, rebuilding, or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest. Donegal New Build and Rebuild 2024 will take place in the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny from Friday 2nd until Sunday, February 5th. Admission is free to this 3-day event. This ad is sponsored by Patterson's Kitchens.
What if someone in the house has medical equipment that uses electricity?
What if my mum has mobility problems and needs to charge her electric walker?
Everyone's concerned about rising energy bills, some more than others. But there could be circumstances that classify you as a vulnerable customer. Just check with your supplier and be sure to register. Talk to your supplier or find out more at cru.ie. Here to shed light on your energy rights. Brought to you by the Commission for Regulation of Utilities.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Okie doke, mostly dry today with brighter sunny spells and a few showers. Highest temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees in a moderate to fresh and gusty west to southwest wind, strong at times near western coasts. Okay, we are joined in studio now by, I'll allow you to introduce yourselves. Okay, so we'll go from left to right. What's your name, please?
My name's Alice.
Alice O'Connor.
Sive,
lovely to have you in.
I'm Sheena.
Sheena, great to have you in here as well. Sheena McHugh, is it McCabe? Nihade? I was told that was Hughes in Irish when I was at national school, so I don't know. I was told a lot of lies. Algebra was going to be useful. I was told that too. And Katie Cole's with us as well. Katie, you are part of Danu Young Women's Choir, but as a quartet,
yeah.
Quartet. What name do you go under?
So we are Cioltarí Canola, so which means in Irish, the singers of the goddess Canola, who's the goddess of ancient music. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, we appreciate you coming out of school, but it's just to really celebrate. We're going to hear from you performing live as well. But your barbershop quartet.
Yes.
Is that correct? So talk to me, what distinguishes you from a non-barbershop quartet?
So basically, barbershop is something that originated in America and is kind of not really a thing in Ireland as much, but we're hoping to bring it about as much as we can. Basically, it's 4-part harmony, which consists of tenor, which is Alice, lead, which is Sive, Sheena, which is bass, and I'm the baritone. So basically, it's just really cool, 4-part harmony, singing together with loads of chords. And
now, my recollection of that would have been like 4 fellas, red and white striped shirts,
snapping their fingers,
moustaches, and hats on. Yeah, so you are really mixing it up a little bit. I think we could suffice to say. Right, so you. It was kind of a mishmash of different people, I think, that came up in Christmas. But ultimately, you 4 went to New York to take part in a competition.
We did. So the Barbershop Harmony Society held their midwinter convention there in January. And so we were lucky enough, thankfully, thanks to Douglas Cairns, shout out to you, we love you. He brought us over to America. That was this goal from the start whenever the choir started. And so we were lucky enough that we got to compete in the quartet competition.
And what kind of other quartets were there? Were all different backgrounds, different ages?
Well, we were in the junior quartet competition, so it was under 18. But it was people from all over the world, essentially.
Was that intimidating, or like, does our stuff carry here, and are we good enough, or are we doing it right?
Oh, yeah.
I know you've full confidence in your training and stuff, but you would start a bit of, not self-doubt, but...
Yeah.
Well, especially because, like, they would have loads of
things going around, like they'd have 4 or 5 conventions a year and stuff, and this was kind of our first big one. We went to IABS and that's kind of how we qualified, but this would have been our first kind of big one, so we made loads of friends. That, like, it wasn't kind of a standoffish kind of a rivalry or anything. We made so many friends, but it's kind of different how much like more opportunities for barbershop there is over there.
But in those trips you grow as a person, you know. You come back and something's changed, or your
100%.
prescription, your aspects have been what did you wear? If you don't mind me asking.
So we
Not
have
straw hats.
damn it. So there was suits. So we have these green dresses because we had to rep the Irish in us whenever we were going to America. So
use it for
the
votes.
Americans went crazy.
Yeah.
The Irish girls are wearing green.
So we have little green dresses.
But I suppose it was quite it would have been quite the view, innit? You know, 4 girls over from Northwest Ireland in the green, doing this type of music. It's impactful. Like, you can see why it'd be done.
We were walking out and we were just being introduced. So every kind of quartet gets introduced or whatever, and they didn't even get to say our name because they were like, and all the way from Ireland, and then the entire every single one like stood up. It was crazy.
There was a study or an article out this week that says women's Irish names are the most difficult in the world to pronounce. How did you get on with how did you get on with that?
Yeah, that was fun. I had a game because we all had like lanyards with our names on them, and my name is Sive Branna, and I was going
Give us some of the attempts.
Siv.
I think they did all right with Siv. Go on.
Sarah.
Sada.
These
are all nice
you get
names.
the Sadabaha once in a year.
Okay, right.
Here and there, maybe.
Alice and Katie, you were all right. Anyway,
Sign over here. Sign.
Right. So what we'll do is, if you don't mind, we'll hear you perform.
Yeah.
Really do appreciate it. I want to chat a wee bit afterwards just about your experience of getting around to see stuff and all that, if that's okay. So this is Kale Tori Canola, and you're going to sing "Show Me Where the Good Times Are."
Yeah.
All right. Can we have a note for Katie, please?
Came prepared this time.
Kick the dust up high and let the feathers fly. Show me where the good times are. Come on and show me where the good times are. That's where I wanna be. Come on and show me where the good times are, and have a drink on me. Come on and sparkle like a chandelier. Treat yourself to a dime cigar. Shine up that rhinestone pin, tuck in that double chin. Show me where the good times are. Bad times, sad times, you've got your troubles. So what, big shot, just stand in line. Laugh now, dance now, life is a bubble. Don't stick a pin in mine. Come on and take me where the lights are bright, where the music is wunderbar. Get out that watch and chain, that derby hat and cane. Show me where the good times are. Bad times, sad times, trailing behind me, making do and doing without. In-laws, outlaws, don't try to find me. This is my big night out. Come on and put that razzle dazzle on. Bring
brilliant. I don't know who was making what noise, but it all is it a good sign? Like it really, because it's omnidirectional. Hadn't a clue really, but works. Technically, that's very difficult.
Yes.
Because you're all, I mean, you know it, but there's no beat or what have you. You have to all be in sync at so many different points over the course of that 3 or 4 minutes.
Like we had to practice so much that we when we first got the song, we were all singing, coming in different times, and like we were off key, and you know, that kind of thing.
But there's a collective pressure and an individual pressure,
Absolutely,
not to cock it up,
so
isn't
much.
there?
Yeah, for sure. But I think because we practice so much and we're together so much that we all just kind of like blended in together. Lock and ring. Lock and ring.
Yes, Sheena. Barbershop terms.
And let me ask, are you feeling any sort of affinity with Maureen Bradley at the moment, in that, you know, young people, sort of maybe a genre that's not necessarily associated with your age, you know, bit of success? Do you get where I'm coming from?
It's not really associated with many people in Ireland.
Yeah.
Like we went to the IABS convention, which is the Irish Association of Barbershop Singers. They had their own convention in Killarney a while ago. And it's so much smaller than the other conventions that happen in America because it's just not as widespread in Ireland yet.
But I just think it's really interesting that
coming over.
I think it's really interesting that we sort of have in our part of the world, and we were talking about the talent earlier on, just, you know, used as a collective and like Maureen, sort of pushing barriers, albeit from a different era. You know, it's not reinventing it or whatever, but still. Listen, fantastic stuff. Thanks so very much indeed. What now? Is there a next date, a next target, or...?
We have so many things coming up that we...
Losing track of it all.
We are... None of it's confirmed yet, but we're talking about loads of things. So there's BABS in May, which is the British Association of Barbershop Singers. So that's like the English version of IABS. So that's another thing. And we get to mic warm at that, which basically means that we're not in the competition, but we get to like kind of showcase before the competition starts.
For you,
yeah, so that's a really cool opportunity.
It's a great honour to
we're really lucky that we got to do that, because that's something that you have to people who do mic warming are like the really good people.
So, I get you. So, but in terms of the harmonies, you know, I mean, this is transferable to different genres of music as well, and what have you. And we're seeing that's blowing. I mean, do you even think about that? Do you think this is something that beyond the sort of barbershop quartet that you could take with this? Because obviously you have to get on quite well because you spend so much time together.
Like that's one of the things. Like you can have a good quartet with people who like tolerate each other and who sing well. That's us. But
like, this is literally the production team at Highland Radio. We just tolerate each other.
But to actually be to like progress and to get better, you have to know the people and love the people.
Bit more to it, isn't there?
Yeah, to be a bond. There's a trust kind of going on with knowing each other so well, and it makes all the difference.
We're lucky enough we have that.
Yeah, exactly. And the experiences you've had in New York, get a chance to go around New York, love it. I haven't had that opportunity yet. That's something I want to do.
You should come with us.
I can, but is there such thing as a 5-tet? I don't know how we'd... No, I couldn't even dream of doing
blow the pitch pipe.
Exactly. I can. What's that thing you blow? I can do.
Pipe.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. Right. Okay, listen. The four of you, thank you so very much. It's great for your schools and you as a collective and your families, I'm sure, are dead proud. Thank you so much. It's been lovely having you in, and we look forward to hearing from you again. Okay, that's where we have to leave it. Thanks to Michael. Thanks to Dahi. We're gone. We're out. We're back Monday morning at 9. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. John Breslin's next.
The 9 till noon show is